Take your clown nose off. It's time to play of the devil. My lip sync's not working. I can't have anything. Hello. My lip sync? Come back online. I just streamed with you and you were fine. Of the devil time. Hold on a second. Where the fuck is... Let me scoot off screen for a second. Don't look at me. Come on, I believe in you. You can get the lip sync to work. Let me scoot off of screen further. Why aren't you working? Hello? No? Well, what? If I restart my mic, will it work? Incredible. It's detecting audio, but there we go. My god. And to turn the autosave back on. Okay, so a fun fact about me has been that I've been using this model for, I think over a year now. I think I've been using this model for over a year, which means I've been using PNG Tuber Remix for over a year, right? And I've been, it's the same program. It updates on occasion, but I noticed down the line that my model would get laggy from time to time and just completely freeze. And people would be like, oh, that's because if you're tabbed out of it, it just does that and you can't fix it, which sounds insane to me. But apparently this was the truth. And I just kind of accepted that and moved on. And then I tried to record something with only PNG Tuber Remix open, and it still did it. I found out my model has been auto-saving itself every minute forever. So I turned that off. It resets every single time I open PNG Remix. So every single time I open this program, it doesn't matter if I check it off or do anything to set it to staying turned off. It auto saves my entire model every minute. Unless I turn it off every single time I open it. Cool, cool, cool. We love to see it. Anyway, happy Summer Game Fest was fun and good, actually. We gotta take our clown noses off because actually we won. I'm very, very excited about what's it called? I'm very excited about Wolf Among Us 2. I didn't think we were ever gonna actually get that game. I thought it was dead. I thought we were just completely screwed with that one. I'm very glad we're getting it. I'm very excited for that. I'm excited for Resident Evil fans finally getting Code Veronica. Yeah, overall good Summer Game Fest. I did not get bingo, but there's a lot of stuff I'm excited for. Oh, I'm excited for 1666. That one looks fun. I don't know if I don't know if it'll kill my PC, but I'm interested. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled Evil Lawyer games. I do not remember where we are, actually. So we'll find out together. I don't remember how close we are to trial. Did I read that? Once more into the depths. When I went down to the lower wards last night, I knew what I wanted to find, but I wasn't sure where to look. Oh, we're going back to investigate, right? Now I know where to look, but I have multiple priorities to consider. The danger noise is playing in the background. It'd be nice if it can prove Sosuke's innocence. It won't be easy, given that they think he killed a cop. But it'd keep me on the Ikaria's good side. That'd be nice. I miss Sosuke already. But what is essential is that I figure out what the hell happened after I left. And whether anyone found any trace that I was over there. Everything else is secondary. Sorry, guess I should have asked before I decided we'd be sharing a cab. I don't mind. But I am surprised. Did budget cuts take away your shiny patrol car? Is that why the danger music is playing in the background? Because London is with us? Patrol cars are shared, counselor. Any cop can step into any other cop's car, sync their credentials, and drive. Convenient. Shame you can't personalize. Yeah, no more dice in the mirror. Is that why we're in a cab then? Personal taste? Police cars are full of bugs. Thought you might appreciate the privacy. Auto cabs are full of bugs too. True, but there are ways around them. Are there? I didn't know that. Yeah, plenty. Can be easy as flashing a police badge. Something you wanted to discuss in private, Detective? London, are you cool? London, are you really cool, actually? Oh! I was asked to get in contact with you and pass along a message. A secret admirer? Certain interested parties and all that. You know how it is. I'm not sure I do. Does this have something to do with my client's business affiliations? No. There would be a lot more blustering if I were to repeat it verbatim, so I'll paraphrase. Focus on getting the best outcome for your client. More of a reminder of what my job description is than a warning. And don't broaden the scope of your investigation any more than strictly necessary. Well, I always appreciate kind words of advice. But Detective London, that almost makes it sound like you're on the take. That's the city, Tiger. If you don't take a little, they'll bury you. Alive, if need be. Oh, they will. How conspiratorial. It's not a joke, Morgan. Do they threaten your wife with Tommy guns if you don't comply? Huh. It's gotten more sophisticated than that. Well, maybe sophisticated isn't the right word. Complicated might be more accurate, or you could just call it a quagmire. Or even a shitstorm. If you can't get along to go along, even other cops won't trust you. You'll end up shot in the back. Friendly fire. A tragic newspaper clipping. You're exaggerating. You're telling me the entire police force is corrupt? Corruption would be one thing. You could, in theory, root it out. But above and below the canopy, it's all intertwined. Even every tree stabilizing every other tree. What do they call that? Not parasitism. Commensalism. There you go. The state pays criminal informants to rat on their peers and lets them keep their positions in exchange. Orcas buy judges and politicians to keep their men out of prison. Status quo, balancing act, a cycle. Stable as any gyroscope. Forgive me if I find that hard to believe. Crime is at an all-time low. That's not a contradiction. People hate crime. But what gets people killed is chaos. And the opposite of organized crime is... So everyone's playing nice with each other? Even Detective Reyes? She's... What about the man they think my client killed? Did he play nice? He was a special case. You got the brief. You recognize his last name? It's a big city. I don't put too much stock into last names. You'll need to break that habit if you continue to work in the underworld. Sosuke said something similar. Tariq Chopin, only son of Miguel and Dominic Chopin. The power couple? Why would the son of two of our city's most prominent council members be working as a police officer? You want the full story? Always? Hee 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 hee. So who was this Chopin, really? An idealist. Wrong line of work, then. You're only half right. When he entered the academy, everyone assumed it was a political move. First step in his career to becoming a senator or whatever. Maybe it was, but anyone who met the guy could tell you he would have made a lousy politician. You're saying he was honest? I wouldn't tell a lie if his life depended on it. Guy couldn't do small talk, much less make friends. Talking about cleaning up the city, cleaning up the police, cleaning up everything. If he was so unpopular, why was he kept on? No one on the force wanted to risk insulting his parents by firing him. Just got passed around from department to department, detail to detail. He did a lot of community outreach. Community outreach? What, like bake sale? Like giving talks at schools about saying no to drugs until you turn 21. Woof. Must have really loved his job to put up with that. Or he just wanted to prove a point that bad. Don't you try to save lower wards patrols for the more seasoned, better armed officers? We do, yeah. How'd you know that? By going to the lower wards and looking at the cops you send there, of course. I read about it in Watch magazine last month. Oh. If Chopin was the son of such powerful men, why'd he end up in the lower wards last night? That... I don't know. You don't know? By all accounts, he and his partner should have been at least 2 patrols removed from that area. Must have been following up on some other lead. His partner, who's that? The hero who finally arrested the Hound of Icaria, that's who. I'll have to send him a congratulatory fruit basket. Huey Rogers. Pretty bare bones record, but maybe that'll just add to his legend. What legend? Taking your client alive. Whacked him on the head with his sidearm, knocked him out cold. I guess it is a small miracle that Sosuke wasn't just shot dead if they thought he killed a cop. Maybe, but it wasn't pure luck. Only thing that did stick out to me in Rogers' record was his shooting score. 41. Out of 100. You need 40 to pass. I think someone took pity on him when tallying up his score. So he only whacked Sosuke on the head because he was too bad of a shot to avenge his partner? At least Rogers knows his weaknesses. The Hound! I keep hearing that name. The Hound of Icaria. I cringe every time. No one actually calls him that, right? Sorry, but I definitely heard the name circulating around organized crime before. Must be one hell of a bodyguard to have earned a nickname for it. He's a bodyguard? Then, yeah, must be pretty good. Of course, hound dogs are known for other things besides guarding. Sorry, that was crude. Aw, don't be sorry. I don't even get enough of the joke to be offended. Okay, that all makes for some interesting food for thought. But, Detective London, if you are working for the Blue Bloods... I never said I work for the Blue Bloods. It's more of a gig worker type thing, Tiger. I'm friends with everybody. If you are working for the mob in general, then... how do I know you're even taking me to the right place and not to... Whoa, whoa. I may pass a message along here and there, but I'm not... Damn. Hell, no one else is either. Whatever you're imagining, it's not that exciting, I promise. Not that exciting. Sounds about right. Is it like this in every city? Handshakes and gentlemen's agreements behind closed doors? You disillusioned? The state has a great deal of power, Detective London. It makes countless rules. Now, I'm a big girl. I know that those rules don't apply to people equally. And I understand the value of criminal informants and the possible conflicts of interest that arise in trying to keep them around. What I don't get is why the state has all this strength, and it won't use it to just wipe the underworld off the map. That's pretty cold logic. I'd expect my state to be far colder. Hey, you ever heard this one? A politician, a CEO, and a mob boss are sitting at a round table with a gun in the middle. Who are you betting on? Ooh, we get to choose. Politician, CEO, mob boss. I want to pick the CEO. A CEO looks at a loaded gun and sees the bullets in the clip as inventory that needs moving. Plus, they're used to taking a job and setting up their golden parachute before everything else. I doubt they'd walk into that room without first planning how they're getting out of it. Fair enough. CEOs only get the job in the first place by convincing their board that they can navigate high stakes. But it's a trick question, of course. Rock, paper, scissors has no trump card. The politician can bring the heavy arm of the law down onto the mob boss if he doesn't shoot the CEO for him. The mob boss can have the CEO's family killed if he doesn't blow away the politician first. And the CEO can turbocharge the campaign of whoever the politician's opponent is if he refuses to miss the mob boss. Yeah, seems like you can make the argument go in the other direction too. You're good. So the point the riddle's meant to teach is this: whoever convinces someone else to pull the trigger comes out on top. Funny. So in the parable you've set up, the gun on the table, that's the police? A blameless tool with no will of its own? Yeah. Though it was older men than I who set it up. Didn't realize this country's police were so powerless. However do you manage? We used to have a partner that helped us out. A tiebreaker. Because all three of those powerful men would be screwed if a journalist told the world that they were meeting together. I've got good news for you, detective. Journalists still exist. I could introduce you to one. You could even take a photograph. Oh, I know they're not extinct. People will always write. It's just that no one wants to pay them to. Sorry, didn't mean to talk so much. Maybe it's nerves coming back down here. What happened the last time he visited? Something up? Didn't put you to sleep, did I? No. Actually, your 3-seat table reminded me of an even older thought experiment. If God is omnipotent, why does he allow the existence of the devil? Even I know that one. To preserve free will or whatever, right? Yeah, that's the answer most people give. But now I'm wondering if it isn't a rock, paper, scissors deadlock like the one you just described. God lets the devil be, so he'll terrify man. And man will always need God's warm protection. And God needs man's faith, which can't be compelled. Of course, most people would also say that God's long dead in the 21st century, but we're still around. So that leaves the devil in an awfully strong position, doesn't it? You always picture 3 men in that room, don't you? Huh? Yeah, I guess I do. Sorry. Do 55 feminist rosaries for your penance. God. Deadlock mentioned. I hope, for the sake of my voice, that London doesn't keep talking forever. Detective London. We're definitely not alone down here. But when you reassured your partner that we'd have company, I didn't think you were including blue bloods. You know, I knew I'd forgotten to mention. What? Well, then she's a liar, babe. Hello, I saw you in the trailers. Because I never said that. No, I never said that. Oh, come on, babe. That's what she's like. She lies for fun. Because that's what I call you, babe. It's a pet name. You like it. No, don't hang up. Don't hang up, baby. Don't hang up. Of course I do. We gotta get to work on. I'll have to call you back, babe. Something just came up. London, what is this? London, who is this? Counselor Morgan, this is Adelaide Hahn. She's a blue blood. Hey, I'm a perfectly legitimate career woman. You're speaking to a Sienna security site manager. If you need anything, miss, please don't hesitate to reach out. Han's card. We got her card before... Oh, we got the profile too. Adelaide Hahn. Listing her as a site manager for Sienna Security, a known front for the Blue Blood criminal organization. Includes her personal contact number on top of her work details for some reason. Morgan, pay attention. Come on. Oh, we also got Tariq Chopin. Likes 24/7 news, calligraphy, and late dinners. Dislikes gray hairs, untucked shirts, and mint. Education, a BS in applied philosophy. Awarded senatorial commendation of bravery, posthumous. Survived by Fathers Miguel and Dominic Chopin, city councilman. Damn. Sucks. Let me save. A real business card? It It even has a watermark. It even has a watermark. Oh my god. I'm not familiar with Cyanus. We're a private security and investigating firm. We provide bouncers, armed escorts, we catch cheating partners, find runaway debtors, run paternity tests, that kind of stuff. Did we just get your profile? No, we didn't. Cyanus. Trusted partner in your business ventures, offering suite, private security. Bodyguards, convoys, bouncers, private investigators, paternity tests, family history research, and shipping insurance. Answer a few questions about your needs in our portal below, and we'll get you set up with the peace of mind you've been searching for. Your browser may prompt you with a security pop-up when interacting with some of our features on the site. You can safely disregard these messages as they are related to a legal matter that has already been settled out of court. We apologize for the disruption in your site experience. God. Sorry, but have we met somewhere? No, it can't be. I'd never forget a beauty like you. She's a Hound's lawyer, Han. Seriously? She works for those copper-headed scumbags? So we're mortal enemies. That sucks. Another life then, eh? But I'll still play nice if you will. Right. Morgan, pay attention. Morgan, pay attention. Come on. Oh my god, she has a fidget tubby. Okay. Site manager, Cyanus Security, likes new furniture, silk clothes, and dimples. Dislikes clingy types, jealous types, needles. Plays pickup games, avoids laundry day. Least favorite chore, throwing out dead flowers. So you're private security and you're currently securing this crime scene? Yeah? What's with the tone? What you're hearing is genuine bewilderment. London, why are the police letting blue bloods contaminate the crime scene where a cop died? Come on, we don't have cooties. If this wasn't the location where a cop died, we'd have already turned full control over to them. What? The police contract out the security around crime scenes to private companies all the time. And around here, the private company best suited for the job happened to be Cyanus. Letting them conduct their own side investigations is a small concession to keep the peace. A small concession? They're probably in there destroying evidence as we speak. We have arcs to preserve the crime scene. They could burn the building down and we'd still have a pristine copy. London Bridges is trying to save face. The police couldn't keep this crime scene off limits without our help, and he knows it. Gremlins would be smashing their shiny cameras and popping their expensive tires around the clock if we weren't here. Lower wards kids take out drones by tossing shoes at them for fun. Is that why you see shoes hanging off of wires? No, I don't know why that happens. It's just a thing teens have always done for fun. Mystery solved? Fine, maybe the cops and the blue bloods are all consummate professionals who never even bicker. But what kind of impartiality can I expect coming here to defend an Icaria? Well, you might get some ugly looks from those with less chivalry, but no one's gonna get in your way. We know how defense attorneys operate. We know damn well how you usually win. No one's gonna do anything that'd let you worm the Hound out of his life sentence on a technicality. You sure you wouldn't prefer that? To have him back out on the street so you can take another shot at him? Oh, so flattery, that's how you flirt. What does that mean? You think we'd ever manage to gun down the Hound of Icaria in the street? Shank him in a holding cell? Blue Bloods took him alive just fine the other day, didn't they? Yeah, and look at what happened to them afterwards. So you won't tamper with the crime scene just because you want to make sure the state lobotomizes Sosuke for pentuple homicide. Yeah. I mean, we also literally get paid good money to do these kinds of jobs, so we have a reputation to maintain. Rate us 5 stars when you're done looking around, okay? I'll be sure to leave a glowing review. So this is the main entrance. I was gonna say I fear my fringe ship that is going to take over my brain is gonna be Adelaide and Morgan. Wait. So, this is the main entrance? Front door looks about as heavy as I remember, but it's unlocked. What's that? How was this door found? Chopin and Rogers were the first officers on the scene, responding to gunfire. Someone heard that? Good thing I cleaned up fast. Checked the area, then entered through the front door. The door was definitely locked when I arrived, but I didn't lock it behind me when I left. I didn't have any keys. Admiring our handiwork? This is a Cyanus installation. Who else would Blue Bloods trust to secure Blue Blood buildings? How does it lock? You never used a key before? I want to know how the lock functions. Does it lock behind you automatically? That's a good question. You looking to buy? Because I could set you up. It is a good question, Han. Why don't you answer it? Yeah, this model locks behind you by default. You need a key to get in if someone doesn't unlock it from you from the inside. A physical key? Physical keys can't be hacked or overridden by a police badge. Some people consider those useful features. Is that why the door's ajar? It looks like the lock's been destroyed. Was it found like this? Yeah, for as long as the arcs have been up. We already know that. Front door. Front door. Ooh, it has the extra info that only we know in red. That's fun. Front door to the crime scene. Uses a physical lock. Trey definitely had to unlock it to let me inside. I didn't think to see if it had locked behind me after I left. So I guess we don't actually know any additional information. It definitely wasn't locked when me and Reyes arrived, which was around 10:20 p.m. Hang on, you and Reyes... What, were you the second officers on scene? That's right. We weren't far when the 10-999 went out at 10:15. 10999 is an emergency response code utilized in municipal systems around the nation. Most police departments' standard issue suite of biomonitors allow for this code to be sent out across emergency networks automatically when cardiac activity is disrupted or blood pressure changes rapidly. Huh. Due to the non-negligible chance that moderate exercise could be misinterpreted by biomonitors, leading to false alarms, some departments make it a policy to avoid enabling the automatic alert function. Long way from Precinct 254, isn't it? We were in the area. Awkward. You want the tour then? Actually, I'd like to check out the alley first. You know the crime scene's on the 3rd floor, right? Yeah, but it has a window that opens to the alley, doesn't it? I just prefer to start from the bottom and work my way up sometimes. Sure, we can start there. Just be careful where you step, if you like those boots at all. Ah. Alright, let's look around. Thing to read. One problem with Blue Bloods and cops running security. I don't know who to blame for leaving their shit here. I'll give the moral high ground to whichever part of society learns to pick up after themselves first. Okay. It's reading time, you know what that means. We're gonna make the little plushie a lot bigger. There you go. Look at her. Have her keep you company while I read. Nortechnica University. Funny. Freak accident that has provided simultaneous relief and confusion to the community. Dubbed by some members of the press as a work of the Witch of the West. Huh. Oh no, not the files related to student debt. Whatever will we do if we don't have those? A lot of them have been less than eager to speak with us. Yeah, gee, I wonder why. We may have no choice but to re-examine payment plans for our current students' tuition. Senator Colt now formally calling for the Director of Investigations to testify. Hey, we don't seem to have your ID in our database. If you fill out a simple form for us, we can get you the rest of this article, along with a ton of other cool offers and limited time sales served up exclusively to a compliment ID 09, like you! I feel like I've heard stories about bombings out west in the last few months. But I didn't know they'd all been attributed to one person. Or that they're now calling them the Witch of the West. I forgot to put away the plushie! Go back on my shoulder. Excellent. There's no mention of victims, only data centers being targeted. But clearly this witch is hitting someone where it hurts, if they've now got feds involved. What really stands out here is that the federal investigators are getting involved. Most national security agencies were absorbed into the military police complex decades ago. That bureau survived, but it's a mere fraction of the size it used to be, and very different in its function. Their modern reputation is that of attack dogs, deployed by the Senate to make examples of political targets. Scoot Morgan up there a little bit. There we go. Actually, no. A little too high. There, now she's like on my shoulder. I can't say I like the idea of them being out there hunting for serial offenders. Let's say Lobo King? Lobo is the hacker, I believe? Okay, are those the only other two things? It was much darker last night than it is now, and I only took a quick peek. But even so, this looks like it's been moved, huh? Yes. Was trash picked up last night, perhaps? Checking the model number on the side. Looks like dumpsters of this Looks like dumpsters of this make haven't been picked up by the city in a decade. I didn't realize there was DRM on trash cans. Hey, it's a heavy model. Tough to lift, even if its wheels weren't broken. And designed for containing industrial waste, how it ended up here in a residential district isn't that hard to puzzle out, is it? It was cheaper for the Megs to dump their shit on us than it was to haul it to a landfill. Is that why I can see markings on the ground there? From leaks? Aw, you really are a tourist, aren't you? I've been in the lower wards before. But only at night, right? Rain's dirty down here. Stains the ground wherever it falls. Acid rain? Like from the history books? Not quite that bad. Just smog combined with the precipitation combined with the charms of the city to make dirty rain. Like I said, lower ward spring water. There's a shot named after it. Tequila and pickle juice. Ugh. So is the dumpster empty? Let's see. Hey, grab a glove if you're gonna... Yeah, it's mostly empty, except for a bunch of scrap metal at the bottom. Explains why I can't get it to budge. Careful. If you get your toe trapped under there, don't look at me to help. Oh my god. Don't look at me to help you just because I'm modded. Are you saying you couldn't budge it either? I could if a girl was cheering me on. Okay, London, thanks. Don't know what I was expecting you to find, really. Now just watch it so you don't... Oh! Let the lid slam. Sorry. I feel like the lid slamming is gonna end up being important. We already got the serial bombings. Industrial dumpster found in the alley just next to the crime scene. Incredibly heavy. It still shows signs of being moved recently. I wonder... I feel like Sosuke with his mods would have been able to move it, but I don't know if he was ever out here. The lid makes a very unpleasant sound as uncovered by Detective Linden's thorough investigating. Yeah, that's going to be important if that was written down. That wouldn't be the gunshot that they heard, would it? It doesn't sound anything like a gunshot, but I don't know. There's been weirder things identified as gunshots in games before, I feel. Like that balloon pop in Investigations. This fire escape would lead right up to the crime scene. Assuming it doesn't come crashing down once you step onto it. Missing the ladder that you would connect it to... It's missing the ladder that would connect it to street level. You're violating fire code with this tetanus trap on. Building inspection's not my department. Besides, you'd want to climb up into a burning building. Firefighters. You're funny, Bridges. Even a copper firefighter wouldn't risk getting singed to have a lower ward's property, to save his lower ward's property from burning down. Copper? As in... derogatory word for ads. Interested parties in the... in the ad industries have, on more than one occasion, lobbied for copper and other terms like it to be classified as hate speech. Oh yeah, this was like Clanker, Crampdown. Microchip breath. Yeah, we've gotten this before. An ad could probably make the jump up there. Ads are heavy. If an android leaped onto that, the whole mess would probably come down on top of them. Fire escape. Rusty and poorly maintained. It's missing the ladder that would normally let you climb up from the street level, so one could only freely move back and forth between the third floor room, where bodies are found in the second floor room beneath it. Oh, we were on the third floor? I thought we were on the ground floor. Whoops. Yeah, modders are heavy too. Hey. Looks like the only way into the building is through the front door then. Oh, right, we did go upstairs, I forgot. All right, I'm done back here. So I think I've seen everything That's right. I was standing here last night when... Eyeball kid. It was dark and foggy. The kid was too far off to make out my face. Weren't they? What is it, Tiger? Nothing. Thought I saw someone out of the corner of my eye, that's all. Yeah. Around here, maybe it was an unlisted. What do you... Those are real? Keep to themselves, obviously, but yeah, they're real. I met some. They inform. Sometimes on what they've seen. Never come in to testify, of course. You'd think they'd stand out dressing like that, but... If their camouflage didn't work, they wouldn't be unlisted, right? What do you mean they keep to themselves? Don't they work with any of the gangs down here? Sorry if I gotten your hopes up for something. Trust me, you got a better chance of winning the lottery than running into one. Right. Forget I asked. You ready to go inside? Let me check out unlisted really quick. I was gonna say the kid with the eyes was the one, probably. Informal designation to individuals, often missing persons or unhoused, who are not being tracked in any government database. For much of the 21st century, individuals of this description were most often undocumented immigrants. Following shifts in immigration patterns and the Minutemen Bill, or the Military Service Citizenship Program, undocumented immigration has sharply declined. While many non-citizens... This sounds like, hey, if you join our military, we'll fast-track your citizenship, right? While many non-citizens do live and work within the country, they are tracked through immigration monitoring and services or as part of their military service agreement. Yep. Until they either leave their country or are fully naturalized at the end of their service. Yeah. Today, unlisted mostly refers to small groups of seasonal workers who travel the country in migrating caravans to find work, undercutting corporate contracts on various agricultural or fungal installations. Mushrooms? Generally poorer areas. As what are effectively homeless communities. Unlike most homeless people, the overwhelming majority of those who are unhoused for less than 2 weeks, these enlisted actively refuse state housing assistance or assistance of any kind. Interesting. Concerns about malnourishment, illiteracy, extreme poverty, and rampant mental illness within enlisted populations has at times spurred outreach programs that attempt to contact them, but by their very nature as enlisted, actual data on their quality of life or cultural practices is virtually non-existent. Is that a typo? Is that how you spell existent? I don't know. Anyway. And so, of course, politicians do not help. Sick. I think so, as long as... No, I'm not with anyone else. It's just me here. Because she's shrill, princess. And delusional, you know that. I'm sure she'll catch up. So, you were saying this used to be an apartment building? Somewhere between that and a long-stay motel, yeah. Blue Bloods didn't deviate far from that model when they took over. They call rooms like these vaults, places to stash away a lover, witness, debtor when there's too much heat. You gone through all these vaults, I take it? Cyanus helped us with that last night, yeah. Bringing around master keys, clearing out every possible hiding place. Obsessed with the 2-timing mark. God. Didn't find a red-handed killer hiding anywhere, did you? Sorry, no. So this is the Blue Bloods' forte then? Securing people, places, and things? Couldn't think of it that way. Guess I always assumed gangs made their money through drugs. Well, the Blue Bloods do deal here and there. But narcotics has been a rich man's game ever since the CDCA rolled in. CDCA was the ones who developed those designer drugs too, oh no, this is the Contraband Decriminalization Acts. Right, oops, all drugs are legal now. Technically. I remember now the gray wave and the white wave, yes. I'm glad that they update you with these again in case you forgot. If you have the funds to ride this gray wave the way House Ikaria does, you can make a killing. I got the market cornered from black to gray to white to pure green profit. The Blue Bloods hate that they have to make do with all the scraps that the Megs and the house don't bother producing en masse. Professional jealousy. How ugly. Why can't these underworld overlords just bury the hatchet, get together, and screw over the consumer like reasonable people do? Well, they've tried, if you believe the rumors. About a year ago now, there was some kind of meeting, an olive branch from the golds to the blues. Apparently, the Blue Bloods had a product that the Ikaria wanted to distribute. The Ikaria sell legal drugs now, though. And what kind of product could the Blue Bloods have that the Ikaria couldn't manufacture? Not sure. Maybe that's why it went south so fast. Blood was spilled in less than an hour. The Ikaria aren't the type to keep negotiating after being spat on like that. And so the Blue Bloods remain firmly planted in their lower ward's niche. They might not like having to take the low end, but they are filling a gap in the market. And that's every proper capitalist calling, right? Besides, the workers certainly appreciate their protection down here. Workers hire Blue Bloods for protection? But that's... all that stuff is legal so long as they're licensed, isn't it? Legal? Yes. Respectable? Most would still say no. So household name security megs consider it too high risk to be seen in the company of workers. All right, what does workers mean capitalized like that? Oh, worker capital W is sex worker. Generally used to refer to individuals who are legally licensed as such, as opposed to those who are engaging in sex work outside of legal guidelines. Sex workers operating in high-end establishments, generally in specifically zoned municipal districts with high median property prices, cloud districts, and catering only to specific clientele may be more commonly referred to as courtesans. Please sign in to verify your age in order to display all the full search results for your query. I see. Hold on. What did we say about this before? The workers certainly appreciate the protection down here. Workers hire blue bloods for protection. I see. Doesn't help that the average board member is easily pushing 60 years old. You aren't that far from pushing 60 yourself, are you? Matter of opinion. Besides, I'm a very modern, forward-thinking man. Did you finish those 50 rosaries already? Right. And the Ikaria, they don't, compete in that market? No. People at the Ikaria's Heights might patronize a courtesan or two in the cloud districts, but they'd never lower themselves to work alongside one. Hypocrites. Oh wait, that's London. Hypocrites. That much I understand perfectly. The hypocrisy is the appeal for them. The rules don't apply for me. You can ask for a more pure expression of power. Damn. Worse than I remember. Like a demon tore through the place. Seriously. What the hell happened here? That's what we all get paid to find out, right? Yeah. I've definitely got a head start on the rest of you, though. Shall we bring up the arcs? Sure, I'll patch you in. Allow me. If you're needed on the phone, Miss Han, please don't let me keep you here. Nonsense, I got all the time in the world for you. Everyone's treating me like royalty today. All right, arcs time. Woo! Bloop. Hey, that's me. Took the words right out of my mouth. Where shall we start? How about with tall, dark, and mysterious in the middle here? That's her client. He was found standing over Chopin's body by the arresting officer. Rogers, right? And then he knocks Sosuke out? Correct. So why is this artistic rendition of Sosuke and not a capture from Rogers' body cam? Well, it seems like at the time. Their body cam was off? Seriously? Hey, I'd chew him out myself if he was here with us. It's department policy to have all sensors green when responding to an emergency. Did all this? Jesus, Morgan. Not qualify as an emergency then? Chopin and Rogers were responding to shots fired. That's not uncommon in this part of town. We're two experienced officers first on the scene. Why is it not? There we go. It might not have come to mind. At least Chopin could use that excuse. Rest in peace. But apparently Rogers requests I didn't read that. Apparently Rogers requests replacement body cams nearly every week. Okay, if he's that big of a klutz, take away his gun once the city's done throwing him a parade. Ah, where did Morgan go? I'll put in a request. Right, then who's next? All right, well, this is apparently Sosuke. The screen. Oh, we clicked on the screen. I turned it on to distract Hanks long enough to grab his gun. And I remember him choosing not to turn it back off. Interesting setup. Powerful setup. It was blaring when we arrived. The sound system, I mean. One of the CS techs is a real audiophile. Said it broke her heart how loud they must have blared the speakers all the time. Where is it out, she said. Sound system and the evidence. Sound system found at the scene of the crime. Still playing music loudly by the time the crime scene tech started scanning the environment. It was really giving me a headache when I turned it off. Didn't enjoy having to turn it back on before I left just to leave no trace. I wouldn't count on orcas to value the longevity of their tech purchases. Look. The big one. He made a strange face when I shot him and a loud slam when he hit the floor. This one. Real long rap sheet. With a short ending. Buckshot to the torso. Died instantly. Flexware on his mods put his time of death at 9:44 p.m. Killed by his own weapon. Comes up a bit short of poetic justice, but it doesn't look like he was in any kind of a struggle for it beforehand. But how'd someone manage to get it off his hands? It wasn't any great feat, I assure you. Tex identified it as a double-barreled Mag US? I don't know. And... Hey, how'd you know the gun was his? He's still wearing the holster and the arcs. Was I mistaken? No. About a week ago, Tanks here was stopped and frisked by a patrol unit. And they found this here gun on him. They found this gun on him and they just handed it back to him? He bought and paid for it above board. So this gun isn't jailbroken? You have tag data from the murders? No, we don't. Strange. According to the text, this gun is jailbroken. What happened between last week and last night that he'd get the tag stripped off? Something that made him think this piece would see action soon. Oh. Hold on, let me check out that gun really quick. Do we have anything additional? Yes. Short barrel maglev firearm recovered from the scene of the crime. Registered to Tanks, found on Sosuke when he was arrested by Officer Rogers. Oh, right, because we, like, gave it back to Sosuke. For the sake of killing people. No one else's fingerprints are present. Gripped in his left hand. I don't remember what handedness Sosuke was. Modified to an illegal extent. The slugs fire detonate after penetrating their target. Ugh, increasing lethality, and the gun leaves no digital traces from when or where it was fired. Horribly gaudy, but got the job done. Last I saw it, I left it in Sosuke's waistband. Windows open to the fire escape in the alley below. There's a thin misting of blood across them. Got a good guess as to who it belongs to. This is where we found Creek, leader of the pod. Ballistics tells us the shooter was standing in front of the desk. Near where my client was found. Your words, not mine. Nasty slug burst in his chest. Blue blood back onto the windows behind him. The open windows. Hell of a spread. Yes, it is. Did somebody open these, or? No, they were open when we secured the scene. Any fingerprints? Plenty on the handles there from Creek and his pod. That's where the handles are? Something wrong? Definitely, but how the hell could I explain why I know that? No, sorry, I guess I'm wondering about the keys around his neck and the arcs. Ah, well, one was a master key. Could unlock any other door in the building. Windows. Opens to the alley and the fire escape. Blood splatter across window has, through forensic analysis, been traced back to... Yeah, Creek was against the window and we shot him. Fingerprints on the handles match Creek and the rest of his pod, but we didn't open the window. The other key we eventually paired to a small safe in his desk. Empty, though. Suppose that's all irrelevant, since he apparently died with the keys on his person. Yeah, they caught my eye too, to be honest, but... not every detective's instinct pans out. So, who was this guy? Curious. Only professionally. I don't care what he was before I killed him. Criminal record dating back as far as it goes. Sealed when he turned 18. What makes you so sure he has a juvenile record, then? The more experience these guys get, the more time in between their arrests. Pattern I'm seeing, he was pretty damn experienced by the time he was of age. You trying to compliment him? I wasn't trying to insult him, hon. Anything you'd like to add? Nah, nothing I want to say in front of you two. If you want to say a few words, the detective and I could step. Only words I have are for his killer. I'll deliver them in person, or not at all. Fair enough. Do you have any idea why someone might want to hurt this Creek fellow? That's not funny. That dog you're defending? It's a fair question, Han. Give it fair consideration. Besides the Ikaria, the rest are a city's finest? No. Creek was charismatic and driven. Plus, he made us a lot of money. No true blue would want him gone. The bloodthirsty Ikaria soldier he was interrogating, however, probably wasn't a huge fan. What about family? This is getting old fast. Younger brother is listed as his next of kin. Leave his brother out of this. Hell, leave me out of this. Rooting through a person like you're picking at zits. Well, seems like he's out of town anyway. Taking summer lessons at How Marin are you? That's a good school. An expensive school. Younger brother has no listed occupation. Also no priors and no juvenile record. TAD at his age? Poor kid. Pills for that cost an arm and a leg. Creek must have been sending him. Detective, did you just leak the confidential medical data of a non-suspect to a third party? Hey, you don't have to report. How about I just buy you an ice cream or something? Bribery too. You're digging yourself pretty deep. Is it still bribery if I'm the government official? Incredible. Oh my god, there's so much stuff. Pull? We'll pull open the door last, I think. Who the hell? What is that? Who the hell? Read? God, there's so much stuff. Is there anything else back here? No. Okay, let's read. Nope, there's examine. Let's read first. Paper scattered all over his desk. Suppose I'm partially to blame. I didn't exactly memorize his setup before I started searching for the mask. What's this? What'd you find there? A note? M. Ikaria. Ikaria. Looks like Creek's handwriting from the other files I've seen. Is that just a typo by the devs? M. Ikaria. Yeah, no, it's intentional. Looks like M. Ikaria, actually. He's dead, London. I was gonna let the spelling mistake slide. Right, sorry, but M? That's gotta be Makoto, right? You know Makoto? I know he's the Ikaria's heir apparent. From what I hear, he's an appropriately frightening young scion. He's really quite something. Why would his name be on Creek's desk? He was Creek's real target the other day. Sosuke was some kind of consolation prize. Bagging the Hound was a consolation prize? These punks really had their sights set high. Yeah. Like no one taught them not to stare at the sun. Alright, examine. Creek's fine wood desk. He seemed particular about it. Maybe in no small part because it had a priceless no mask hidden inside it, but... I assume you've been through this data pad before? Here? I can't read. Evening! Evening! Hello! Front to back, but we didn't find anything we didn't already know. Seems like Creek was smart enough to use it for payments and nothing else. How do you manage that? Even gangsters need spreadsheets. Hence the paperwork you see scattered about. They really did everything by hand? PPP is what they call it over in organized crime. Paper and pencil protocol. Helps the orcas keep their books off the books. Or at least in a format that's easier to destroy should push come to shove. Did you run checks on this credit card that's jammed in here? Not surprised you don't recognize it. There's a dark card. Wow, tell me more. Wow, tell me more. Fucking Morgan. It's an untraceable wallet in the palm of your hand. I would hope any wallet that could fit in the palm of your hand, Detective. But you really can't find the owner? Can't trace any of its transactions? Most we can tell is the datapad registered calls to dark card networks at around 9:40 p.m., but it timed out. What does that mean? The transfer didn't go through. Either someone got cold feet or they forgot their password. Happens to the best of us. By the way, why has this cloth been flagged? Not sure. Forensics didn't find any blood on it. Who flagged it? Lady Rockford herself. Uh-oh. Did we fuck up? Did we fuck up? Oh no. Dark card, do we have any other stuff? Only reason I had to take my gloves off in the first place was because of this useless piece of plastic. All fingerprints have been wiped off of it at some point. Creek's note? M. Icaria says M. Reading M. Icaria. M. Icaria. Handwriting is by and large a match for other documents penned and initialed by Creek found at the crime scene. Anyone hear an ominous Emma-shaped bell? Guys? Guys? Creek's data pad. Any additional Morgan notes? Couldn't avoid touching it. Had to at least pretend the dark card would work. Stuck quite firmly into a touched card reader. I can't remember, did we jam it in there or did it just like genuinely not fit? I don't know why it wouldn't fit. I can't remember. I've been rewatching, fully because of this game, I've been rewatching bits and pieces of Death Note here and there. This game really has me in the like, wait, no, there's no other way. She definitely knows what's going on. Otherwise, no. If she's actually like the like the like triple like second guessing yourself that Light does in Death Note is like exactly where this game puts me as soon as Emma is involved. I don't remember this piece of fabric. Is she just trying to fuck with us? Could be that she fat-thumbed it. Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. Did we touch that? I don't remember. Oh no. Oh no. When was Rockford here? The moment they reveal someone to be the knower, it's gonna pop off like crazy. Alright, let's scan this body. Blood loss. From the neck. Even I can tell that much. Stabbed with a bladed weapon right near the carotid artery. God, I never say that artery right. I want it to be cardioid. That is not it. Very efficient. Not the kind of kill somebody could make without prior experience. My client's a humble bodyguard. Come on now, I know you got a job to do, but you'll shame him if you don't let him take credit for this one. Miller was no joke in a fight. To take him out with one clean stab to the neck using his precious signature katana? The Hound must be itching to brag about it. I'll defer to the medical examiner on this matter, thank you very much. What do you mean? Sato said the same thing. Katana to the neck, in not so many words. Is Miller's blood even on the katana? Even if it is, why would a medical examiner assume the katana was used here when my knife is a much better fit for... My knife. Where is it? Where? I gave Sosuke the knife before I left. It should have been found on him when he was arrested. It should be somewhere in the arcs. You looking for something, Tiger? If they haven't found the knife and I ask about it anyway, that'd mean admitting I know it's missing. If I tell them Sosuke mentioned a knife that only the killer would know about, I'd be ruining my case before we even enter the courtroom. Or worse, pointing the police in the direction of the knife's real origin. No, I just... Was anything found on my client's person when he was arrested? Besides a gun, a sword, and a bunch of blood that didn't belong to him? No, not even any lint in his pockets. This game drives me crazy because I am at a point with the aforementioned light Yagami-isms that it forces me to do, as well as the crazy Yuri that it presents me with Emma, that a part of me is like, God, I hope she tampered with the crime scene to fuck with us. I hope she did. Like, you know in Hannibal, I don't remember at what point in Hannibal, it's like somewhere in season 2, where specifically to lure out, I don't even remember if it's Hannibal or if it's someone else, but Will kills and mutilates a body with the permission of the police to lure a killer out. It's the one where he turns it into like the stag, because the stag has been plaguing him, because he's totally normal about Hannibal, as you know. And they're like, yeah, we should do that to lure out this killer. And then Jack is understandably like, hey, this is pretty fucked up for you to do, even if you did it. Oh, like when they feed fake info to lower level employees to see who leaks it. Yeah. I'm a little like, she has no reason to suspect me for this. But also, it's Emma. So what if she already knows that it's the Heartbreak Killer who did this, because she's convinced herself that Heartbreak wouldn't stop killing, and she knows it's Heartbreak. And what if she already thinks that I'm Heartbreak? And what if she did this to fuck with me because she knew I would be at the scene? You know? Oh, I'm obsessed with them. Toxic Yuri at its peak. Exactly. Oh, I'm obsessed. I have been saying that this game is like Death Note if they let even one woman in Death Note succeed at anything ever. Which is perhaps one of the things that I miss about Death Note. I love Death Note. I watched it all the way back in middle school, and I think it still holds up enjoyment-wise. Is a very early formative anime for me. And I just really like it as like I love a low fantasy crime thriller. I don't know if I could really name another one that I finished. Ajin is a low fantasy, not really a crime thriller, but it feels similar to me. If people have heard of Ajin or Demi-Human. I never finished that show, but I like a low fantasy setting where like normie humans get involved to try and stop it. It's very fun. Where was I going with this tangent? Yeah, I really like Death Note is the point, but there's a couple bits and pieces I think on a revisit to it that it's like missing. And I think Of the Devil is sort of like filling that in a little bit. and I mean that in a very like fan service way. Like the Toxic Yuri here is like intentional as opposed to Death Note, which did that on accident because Light Yagami hates women so bad. Light Yagami hates women so bad that it just kind of ends up like that. I need to rewatch Death Note or read it actually, because there's departures that the anime takes that I didn't realize as a kid. So I think I might actually enjoy the manga better as an adult. I need to watch the musical too. I've been meaning to, because the musical is actually really good. Why do you ask? No reason. Like the other thing about between Death Note and Of the Devil is one thing I really like about the Kira case is how many years it takes. Like it's a very long length of time that I don't think Of the Devil will ever do. Like I don't think we're ever gonna get a time skip in this game. I might change my mind by the time that episode 2 is over, but I doubt it. And I know there's only 5 episodes that are planned for this game, so I'm like a little bit sad that the Heartbreak Killer like saga is not going to be this like really long sprawling thing, at least as far as I can tell now. I guess the other thing is that Morgan genuinely does not want to be caught and doesn't really want attention on the Heartbreak Killer and doesn't really enjoy the spotlight. She's in this for the killing versus Light Yagami is like day one. He's like, oh, I got it. I have to be God. And like his arrogance is what is his problem. I would love for Of the Devil to last for the rest of my lifetime, right? God, this game's so good. No reason. Somehow, if it could do that without jumping the shark. I feel like if they were knowingly jumping the shark, I would let Morgan vault over 1,000,000 sharks just for fun, you know? This game has a healthy dose of anime weirdness that I really enjoy. Like the like Sarah asking 3 sizes to every woman question is a very like stupid anime bit straight out of the 2000s that I'm like, yeah, this can stay. This makes it feel like a new Chikoshi game. This is great. Sometimes you gotta shake the tree to see what falls out. Or so they say. Oh, you were blindly guessing. I've been there. What the hell were we talking about before I got super distracted by Death Note? Oh, right. We were asking about our knife. Where the fuck is our knife? Something must have happened to that knife. It couldn't have just disappeared. Not from a crime scene locked down like this. I'll need to find it, but I just can't go looking for it. Is this what it feels like to play with a handicap? Like, it's gonna be driving me crazy forever now that Emma got here before us. Oh, that's such a bright flashlight. That's so scary. It makes my eyes hurt just a little bit, but... Okay, let's assess this body first. I'd advise you to brace yourself before opening the autopsy photos for this one, counselor. And I was like, wow, cool knife. Mine now. Yes, this is sufficiently obfuscated. I know what that word means, but it's hard to say. A lot to take in. The skull was crushed? Yes, but the cause of death was blood loss from a laceration across the neck. That is a lot of blood everywhere. Jeez. I don't remember this. I don't remember the crime too well. We got that guy with the katana. Or, sorry, no, we got that guy with the knife. We dragged the katana somewhere. Fuck. What I would give to have a play-by-play of that again. I guess I could go back and watch my own VOD. You hit the floor and bled out in seconds. Everything else you're seeing there is post-mortem. Overkill. Not the word I'd use for this kind of shit. Calm down, I didn't do it for the fun of it. In this specific instance? This victim had modded eyes. Seems to me like someone just didn't want to take any chances. You are going too far to defend yourself and your actions right now. Shut up! Bullshit. No one in the lower wards would get optic mods without recording functionality. You wouldn't be welcome anywhere. You gonna claim the Hound of Vicaria didn't know something that fundamental? Nah, he bashed his brains in for the fun of it. I'm sure a law-abiding citizen like yourself, we're all scum of the earth who deserve... I'm pretty scummy myself, Han. Defense attorney, remember? Who the hell deserves shit like this? Deserved? What does that have to do with anything? I take it that this bat is what did the deed? Oh yeah. Matches the splinter sound inside his wounds if you had any doubts. Jeez. There's nothing here about Sosuke's fingerprints. You think we could get You think we could get anything but partials off of that? It's practically splinters. Makes sense. I was the one who actually swung it down, and I was wearing gloves by then. Whoever did this, they were damn enthusiastic. You know how hard they'd have to swing to crush a skull? To break the bat itself? Yeah, that's crazy, Morgan. I can't imagine. Cheap wooden bat used to bludgeon Trey's skull post-mortem, splintered beyond repair during the bludgeoning. Fingerprint analysis has proven inconclusive, returning only partials. It was barring Sasuke from exiting the other room before I used it to destroy Trey's eyes, but no one else knows that, and I have no way of knowing, informing them. What a pain. Yeah. Hold on, I want to check Trey's profile again. Ah! I guess it doesn't say anything about his modded eyes here. That is interesting that they didn't have recording functionality. There's some faint blood that's been smeared here. Did this belong to this victim? And Sosuke. I wonder if maybe the bodies hadn't gotten moved around for some reason, but... Your client's legs and feet were soaked in others' blood when he was arrested. Fucking how? And he would have had to sneak up on Chopin in order to stab him in the back. What? You think he slid his feet across the ground to avoid making noise? Does he say otherwise? I'll let you keep guessing on that one. What in the world? I am actually baffled as to what happened after we killed everyone in here. Who the hell? Who the hell are you really? What the hell is all this? What is going on? Oh, that's just bones. Why are you lying there dead right in the middle of my crime scene? That was Tariq Chopin, as you might guess, a patrol officer and the son of two loving fathers, who strongly emphasized to the chief of police their desire to see justice done. Uh-oh. Reyes wasn't exaggerating about how he died. Run through from behind with a sword. What? So he would have been standing in front of the desk, then he was impaled. Not with the gun, either, that we gave Sosuke, so what happened, man? Then he collapsed to the floor face first, and the sword... got stuck in the ground. Bad luck for the attacker, I suppose. Yeah. Dr. Satos noted in her report that the stab wound was, in her words, jostled. Pardon? Like the attacker tried to pull it out, but it was stuck, so they had to jiggle it around? Hey, it's probably what saved Rogers' life. Kept your client distracted and disarmed long enough to give Rogers time to rush in. Allegedly? Not where I left you, that's for sure. Where did we leave the katana? I don't remember. And according to Sosuke, the one thing that he does recall after I pass the baton to him is gripping his sword. You're not giving me much to work with. Fingerprints on the grip match your client's right hand, by the way. Isn't he left-handed? Where's the gun? Sosuke Ikario gripped it in his left hand. Why would he have done that? Which of his hands is broken? Isn't one of his hands broken? Or his arm or something? What is your hand in it? Watch him be like, I'm ambidextrous. I always have been because I have to be a perfect bodyguard. Here I was getting my hopes up. And it definitely wasn't suicide because no one else's prints are on the damn thing. Also, how would you do that as a suicide? Sosuke's sword. Steel is chipped at several points, especially the tip. Hey, close enough, welcome back. The Great Ace Attorney 2. Fingerprints on the handle match the right hand to Sosuke Ikaria, no other prints found. Blood residue at various points of the blade matches the DNA of the victims. Chopin, Miller, and Trey. Another murder weapon I had to wipe the prints off before taking my leave. It was indulgent, trying to take Trey's head off. Wasn't my only indulgence either. I must have gotten Miller's blood on the blade's tip when I dragged it across the floor. Sosuke voice. I switch off which hand is my dominant one every week, and due to brain damage I've forgotten which is this week. I miss Sosuke. Do we get to talk to him again today? I like him. Due to the brain damage, I've forgotten which is this week. I ruled out suicide once I saw he was stabbed in the back. Thank you. There are papers scattered underneath his body. That would be like a minor deduction that they pause and make you do in an Ace Attorney game in like case 2 or 3. Yeah. Did I knock them off the desk at some point? Maybe when the tall one hit the ground? I'm a little surprised Morgan hasn't interrupted and been like, wait, the handedness on these does not match. Because that's one that I always got in Ace Attorney that I was like, okay, this seems a little too obvious, because if you're listing the handedness at all in the case, it means that we have to use it. Or maybe when I was swinging that bat down on... Hang on. What kind of paper is this? I can't read a word. Really? You should get that looked at. My vision's 20/20. What am I looking at, Miss Site Manager? Those docs are internal business, ma'am. Nothing to worry your pretty little head over. How do you know they're internal business if we can't read them? You've really never seen red ink before? Never heard of it. It's a corporate information security protocol. Files with special flags trigger specific print commands if you try to make physical copies. Makes it use some kind of special ink. Try to take a photo of it and it comes out a bright blur. Oh, that's cool. Paper is special too. Too much heat, humidity, it becomes illegible. A corpse bleeding out on top of you is a lot of heat and humidity. Red ink. Anti-dissemination technology. Anti-dissemination technology being a category is something. I really like that in the world building, even as things get more, things digitally advance more, and it makes the surveillance really crazy, but things in the, like, analog, I guess, space also are getting more, advanced to keep up with it, with things like red ink. Any kind of printed text material that incorporates anti-piracy measures. Anti-photocopier sheen gloss, paper that degrades outside of extremely narrow moisture conditions.
Cipher encrypted text based on extinct indigenous languages, and sleeper marks. Printer machine codes left on the corners of documents that are invisible to the naked eye, but are unique to individual printers. Interesting. It's also, the ink is reminding me of, and I need to buy one of these, non-photo blue pencil. I need to get non-photo blue pencil so that I can just do sketches and take pictures of my sketches once I have line art on them. Because I like line art these days. Minimize the time that critical information spends changing hands. So these documents contain confidential data that the Blue Bloods wouldn't want getting out. What do they say in the movies? I can't confirm nor deny that. And if I subpoenaed the data? Do your worst. We've got lawyers too. And unlike your client, they've got all the time in the world to stall. Besides, you and I know exactly what the Hound's motive was. And it isn't written on those pages. It's written all over his busted up face. Sure. But you won't mind if I copy down whatever I can anyway, right? I wouldn't have any legal reason to stop you if that's what you're getting at. Cool. Woo. Documents found on the scene of the crime, mostly blotted out by the blood coming from Chopin's corpse. Apparently contained confidential information of high value. Snippets include dollars required for the expansion of eminent domain with proper 345 payments to support re-election for Councilman Long to push for blah blah blah, colloquially referred to as the lower wards. Vote upcoming. Stress the importance. Upsec at the highest level. Okay. Looks like that's everything in here. Well, I don't envy either of your workloads. Wait, no, we didn't pull the door open. Fuck. Hey, remember that game I was like, oh, that looks like Shadow of the Colossus, but sci-fi? Hi, Nav. It's a lot of blood, that's for sure. Wait, we didn't pull the door open. I'm impressed you haven't gotten nauseous, miss. I'd be right at home here if you weren't all poking your noses around. It's by Shadow of the Colossus guy. Oh, yeah, I'm aware. They mentioned it in the... I think you might have been away from the call at the time. They mentioned it when they introduced him. Shoot, I just remembered. I'll never hear the end of it if I don't check in with my partner after saying I would. I was mushroomed. Ah, you were mushroomed, I see. You too good to keep going if I step out to make a call? A call? Is your partner your mom? And is your mom blind? Send a text. Thanks for your understanding. Maybe he was the one with the weak stomach. You be sure to let me know if you're feeling faint. I can keep going. We're nearly finished anyway. Oh, thank God. I'd stick to the arcs if I were you. Nothing behind that door that's better seen in person. You've been such a gracious host up until this point, Miss Han. Why the cold feet now? It's ugly in there. Also, Nav, doesn't she look like Hyuna? Just like energy-wise? Uglier than this? Different kind of ugly, then. It's all in the eye of the beholder. I warned you. Don't worry, I can stomach it just fine. So long as I can understand it. Why did Creek's pod torture my client? I don't know that they did. Sosuke told me they electrocuted him, Han. They probably just grounded him. Low-grade currents applied every few minutes stops most mods from rebooting. So no SOS pings, no adrenaline bursts pulled out of his ass. And the pliers, hammers, and syringes, what purpose did they serve? They could have just killed Sosuke when they failed to nab Makoto. Instead, they dragged him down here. Why? To try and get info on Makoto's itinerary? Get enough intel to make another run at him? If there are any answers for me in here, I'll need a grout scraper to find them. Alright, let's look around. It's water. Cold enough that condensation's on the outside of the bucket. Is that water for sponge baths? Just a simple way to keep a guest from dozing off. Temperature shock makes caffeine look like a sleep aid. This coming after you claim that you don't know if Sosuke was tortured. You know what the other bucket's for, then? I know you said you've got a weak sense of smell, but do you really need a hint here? But then this last bucket here is... What is that? Trash? Cloth and rope. Bindings. Or bandages. See, they weren't nursing him back to health. I'll run your theory past Sosuke next chance I get. This must be left of what they were keeping Sosuke tied up with. Cut bindings. Party cloth bindings found inside the room where Sosuke was held. Stiff with dried blood and clearly cut with something sharp. We didn't give him the knife. Right? What the fuck happened to our knife? They would have had to use something, yeah. This door doesn't even lock. Not after I removed the bat barring it from the outside. So he was brought here, tied up, questioned. Then he breaks out, bursts into the next room, cuts up 2 of his captors, and blows the other 2 away. That's what you think happened? That's what it looks like. And then what? Chopin runs in and turns his back on a violent criminal? Don't strain yourself trying to make it sound improbable. Cops are dumb. If the Hound crouched in a corner, he'd have his chance soon enough. Hell, he'd probably just play dead. Walking into that scene out there, you think some patrol officer would go around checking pulses? Why would my client go through all that trouble just to get the jump on an officer? Why not just run away? Yeah, the window was open. Hell, why not ask him for medical treatment? Because he was standing in the middle of the 4 men he'd just killed? I know that Sosuke had no logical reason to attack Chopin, but so what? Even Sosuke himself says he would have been acting on instinct. Would instinct tell him that Chopin was in between him and his escape? Huh. Is that the only other thing in here? Oh, there we go. Hypodermic needles. Probably not packing anything healthy. Sosuke better hope they were at least sanitized. I'm not sure Sarah can treat an infection with gauze and rubbing alcohol alone. But those needles there. The design of these needles seems a little odd. Well, someone will tell you sooner or later, so... They're projectiles. Load them into a gun and fire away. Sosuke was captured by men wielding needle guns. Projectile hypodermic needles recovered from the room where Sosuke was being held. Contents within match the non-lethal anesthetics found in Sosuke's bloodstream at the time of his arrest, though other needles were found containing stimulants and drugs commonly marketed as truth serums. Oh, right, they were testing that on him in the preview. Does Cyanus Security have any peacekeeping tools they'd like to disclose as having recently gone missing? You're cursing up the wrong pipe. Creek could find tools all on his own, and we're not that kind of operation. An operation where the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing? More like the right hand's just been washed, so if you have to handle some garbage... Cyanus is that legitimate? Why aren't all the blue bloods working legal jobs then? Not enough positions available. You gotta earn like hell to be considered for a job on this side of the fence. Creek and his pod weren't bringing in that kind of money. They liked Creek's pod where it was. Who's they? Upper management. That mask is a death sentence, crafted specifically for one very special customer. I'm just the one given the honor of hanging on to it until... And did upper management like Creek? I'm just a humble site manager, miss. I wouldn't know. Sure. Do all these needles contain anesthetics? No, there are also stimulants and barbitazine. What were you? Originally developed as a hypnotic, anti-anxiety, and anti-seizure medication. Truth serum. It's never been shown to function as such in a controlled setting. When compared against sampling of liquors ranging from 40 to 80 proof, barbitazine resulted in truthful confessions only 0.2% more often, and no subjects admitted to providing information that they were not already comfortable with divulging. How to tell if someone is cheating, where to buy lie detectors, see who has muted me on social media. Incredible. Like the truth serum? You can get sued for selling it as such. It makes you talk. It doesn't make you say the truth. It doesn't make what you say the truth. So they wanted Sosuke talking. But what did they ask him? If your client can't remember or isn't willing to recall, there's really no one else alive who would know, yeah? Yeah, I guess she's right. Has all this blood been tested, Miss On? Enough of it has. Besides Sosuke, who else would it belong to? I don't like that enough of it has. But okay, that's a bit lazy, but it's not as if there's more here than the last time I visited. Sosuke really did lose a lot of blood. By the time he stumbled out of there, a stiff breeze should have been enough to knock him over. Is he really such a badass that he still managed to take out a police officer before he'd even noticed? It's not as if I feel nothing looking at someone else's handiwork, the product of their violence. But it's like an artificial sweetener. No complaints for that first instant. Then the aftertaste comes. Empty calories. I'll just be hungrier again later, faster. Best to stay disciplined. I'm getting a headache, but it's not from anything sensory. I should know more about this crime scene than anyone. Why can't I piece it together? If I can't piece it together, the cops will never trace any of this back to me, right? So why do I feel so ill at ease? Okay, thanks for your patience, ladies. Did I miss anything? Nah. Oh. Would you have felt better if you had? I'm gonna head out now, actually. I've got a long day tomorrow. You're going back by yourself, then? Are you sure? I could get you a ride out of the neighborhood. I'm sure Miss Han here has already made sure that we'll both get out of here without any trouble. That is her company's area of expertise, isn't it? Of course. Well, at least let me walk you out. Sure, why not? Safe travels. So, detective, there's something you didn't want to talk about in front of the professionals at Cyanus Security? Thanks for picking up on that. Reyes will be upset that you never checked in. Yeah, right after this I will. This room, are we directly underneath the crime scene? Yep, same fire escape right here. Same type of window, too. Has this room been scanned into the arcs? Yeah, but no one found anything noteworthy. Except Cyanus being sloppy. So, what were you actually doing when you left Han and I back there? Something Han said earlier about how no true blue would wish harm on Creek. Her phrasing stood out to me. Because it implies the existence of false blue bloods? Because it reminded me of one of the first things I learned in this city. There are no monoliths. Mags, Orcas, City Hall, there's always factions. And among the blue bloods, the party lines are especially visible. So I made a call, not to Reyes, and confirmed some things. And I figure I owe you a little hint or two, considering the tone of the last message I delivered. That message warned me not to broaden the scope of my investigation. Getting hints from you might be self-defeating. Not these hints, trust me. Ah, I switched tabs. So, what faction did our pal Creek belong to? Ugh, okay. The Youngbloods. Opposite end of the compass from the Old Guard. The conservative blue blood leadership. All of them older than 70, some of them pushing higher than 90. Han said Creek was too useful for anyone to want dead, but my sources don't agree. Creek talked. Said things aloud that others only whispered. Ambitious, charismatic, up and coming. And young. Could easily see him being very unpopular with all the wrong people in the Old Guard. That's interesting info, Detective, but it doesn't exactly flip this case on its head. I already know who killed Creek. The police should have already decided it's Sosuke. Learning that he had some occupational hazards will hardly convince the jury otherwise. My client's the one standing accused, and everyone already knows why Blue Bloods and Ikariyas would want to kill each other. Do you? They're rival gangs, they hate each other. Do you know why? It's the same reason all the Blue Blood leadership is all ancient, while all their muscles made up of orphans and delinquents. 30 years ago, the Ikariya betrayed their peace with the Blue Bloods, started killing them. And they didn't stop for days. By the end of it, every single member of the leading Blue Bloods families under the age of 40 was dead. Well, I can see how their kids would grow up to hate the Ikariya, yeah. You're not getting it, Tiger. Their kids didn't grow up at all. If that's the case, how are the Blue Bloods still around? For one thing, the Ikariya had bigger fish to fry. This was right before the Red Decade. They spent every second of the next 10 years positioning themselves so they could come out the other end as neo-ability. Second, what remained of the Blue Bloods found a new niche to fill. Taking in delinquents furious at a country driven off a cliff by adults before they could even get a chance to vote. Blue Bloods swelled their ranks to new heights by looking out for the little guys during those years, in exchange for favors down the line. Lastly, and most importantly, they survived because they still had hope. You serious? I am. It's a powerful weapon. Hope for what? Hope that the Ikariya had missed one, that they'd fled the country. Hope that a promised heir would grow strong and return one day. A triumphant little lord with overflowing riches and overwhelming power. Sounds like a fairy tale. Those endure for a reason. Well, now you know. The warning to watch where you step isn't exactly worth much if you're fumbling around in the dark. Fairy tales and warnings. What's up? Hey, you ever pay attention to any of this graffiti down here? Scrawlings about Lobo and the cyberpunk and HBK increasingly. I haven't seen that myself. I was gonna say Red Hood. Why are you asking? You feel a chill down your spine? Except for HBK, that's all news. Ghost stories and campfire tales. There are a lot of campsites around here? Lots of places to start fires. But Red Hood. Haven't heard that one in who knows how long. It's one of the oldest. Rough story. It's based on a real event? Nothing worth recounting. I'll take your word for it. Hey, did you or your pals in OC ever hear about some kind of blue blood hunter? Like a bounty hunter? Or huntsman, maybe? Where'd you hear that? Sosuke thinks he might have overheard talk of something like that when he was in captivity. Does it mean anything? Nope. I don't like the hesitation there, Detective. Just an urban legend. I would have said the same thing about Unlisted before this afternoon, and yet... Fair enough. If you see a huntsman and live to tell the tale, I'll buy you as many lotto tickets as you want.
But what's gotten into you that you're feeling all superstitious? Guilty conscience? You mean about working with the mafia? A psychologist would call that projecting. Ouch. Too far? Nah. Didn't feel a thing. I don't know why I asked, really. Guess I've just had an odd feeling all day. Like deja vu? You been here before? No, I hate that feeling. It's whatever the opposite of that would be. The unnerving certainty that you're in uncharted waters. Scary stuff. Ugh. Hate that. Morgan's apartment. Yay, we're home. I am actually going to go get more water because it's very warm right now. And I've been reading a lot for specifically London, whose voice is a lot deeper than every other character that I voice in this. And also it looks like an ad break's about to start, so that's perfect timing, actually. All right, so I'm going to be back. Everybody hydrate or dehydrate, stretch, get a snack, do whatever. And we will be back soon. Yippee!
Well, hello. We're back. We're in Morgan's apartment. Yarg. Ikaria. Blue blood. Megs. Orcas. Dirty cops and criminal informants. Lines drawn back and forth across a battlefield like a spider's suspension bridge. Dizzying in its complexity, frail along any given strand. But one wrong move and you're completely ensnared. Priorities. The Ikaria don't care about who tore through Creek's gang, but they would prefer Sosuke doesn't spend life in prison for killing a cop. The Blue Bloods want to tear Sosuke's throat out, but if Han's taken at her word, they're settling for 5 counts of murder. Can I take Han at her word? Is she a young blood like Creek, or is she with the old guard? Could I have asked London that? If I had, could I have trusted his answer? Because it turns out Kasim London is much, much harder to read than I anticipated. And I can't even trust my client to act in his own self-interest. The man's a bodyguard by trade and a zealot for his house. The trial starts tomorrow. Do I still need more information? Is there time to find it? No, what I need right now is a nightcap. If I can't fall asleep, then I'll know I'm in trouble. Until then, guess sleep will have to wait. It's unlocked. Who? Pardon me for dropping in at such a late hour, Consular Morgan. Standing there in my doorway, she cut through the light like a blade of spilt ink. Oh, I love that little cut-in. That's beautiful. But twice as sharp and not nearly as familiar. She's getting more... like, Morgan's getting more noir detective. I love it. It is outside of normal consultation hours, Miss... She purses her lips. Like lily petals shying away from the moonlight. Chuny behavior? What's a smirk by any other name? Please, call me Mide. Any last name, Mide? The question floats in the air like curling cigarette smoke. I could tell she was used to the smell. I'll leave that up to your imagination. Self-assured and unapologetic. The unspoken family name loud as a signature. Written in blood. You're from House Ikaria. Might I step inside? She blinks. Her head turns a millimeter. A forked tongue testing the temperature of the air. I love the typewriter noise. She wasn't asking for permission. Just you? What about your friends in the alleyway? Hallway, I can't read. She raises an eyebrow but keeps staring at the floor. She's surprised at my perception of the unseen threat, but not quite impressed. I don't think they need to join us. Do you? She was the kind of woman to make you remember. Smoking could kill. Ooh! Oh no, that's the most V-shaped one yet. How can I be of service, Mide? I've definitely seen fan art of her through the devs retweeting her and whatnot. You're already being quite accommodating, both to me and my family's interests. I came here tonight to be of service to you. I understand that you're somewhat new to this underworld of ours. I'm grateful for the offer, Mide. But inexperienced as I am, I've gathered that House Ikaria didn't come into its fortune by being generous. Would you like to know how House Ikaria did come into its fortune? I know you operate a lending company, or a lending corporation with a significantly diversified portfolio. Yes, the good IFG, the public face of the Ikaria criminal empire, clean shaven as it's become. And I know you founded a pharmaceutical company and profited immensely when it went public. And before that? I know your family became nobility during the years of civil unrest. No doubt by being well positioned when the time came to re-privatize our nation's industries. Yes. And before that? I know you slaughtered the Blue Bloods 30 years ago. Very good, Counselor Morgan. You've acclimated to our waters remarkably fast. What I don't know is why Makoto Ikaria has been the target of multiple kidnapping attempts over the past year. You can't fathom a guess as to why the Blue Bloods might want to ransom the family's heir. That's the only guess I can make. It strikes me as shallow. Nothing more dangerous than waters you don't know the depth of. As you said, 30 years ago, the Ikaria cartel, an unrecognizable band of brutes and drug smugglers compared to today, massacred the respectable Blue Bloods and left their geriatric leadership to die on the vine. But we thrust the knife much deeper than that. You went after their heirs? And their entire future. Are you familiar with genetic factor authentication? Using DNA as a password? Blood specifically. Easier than memorizing a string 3 billion characters long. But GFA has fallen out of favor, hasn't it? The Blue Bloods made ample use of it back then. Live blood sample is provided. GFA can only be conducted in person with the sample acquired by a trained on-site professional. Because of the physical realities of the verification process itself, GFA is considered cryptographically secure. Can't be bypassed or hacked in any traditional sense. Largely originally developed, has gone through largely unadopted, blah 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 blah. Few corporations are interested in tying information or resources to specific bloodlines as opposed to specific groups. The verification process itself is inconvenient for most, while totally unusable for anyone working remotely. Families with particularly long lineages have been known to favor GFA for what are effectively symbolic reasons. Users also frequently search for how to change lost password fast. Sometimes offered as a wedding or baby shower gift for couples intending to set up trusts. Interesting. Mide. Occupation representative. Likes sipping alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and arachnids. Dislikes sunrises, black tea, and photographers. Man. Favorite smell dojo floors. Ugh. Best at making use of people, the worst at hiding my distaste. Mire Ikaria? Bad bet. They already had all their offshore accounts, business titles, property deeds. Blue Bloods thought they had already won, that they were establishing a dynasty. So as they made their political marriages, they bound all their alliances and fortunes in literal blood. GFA was both the financial and symbolic laundering of the Blue Bloods' past. Their children, now married, clean-cut and perfectly respectable, would prosper alongside wealth, no longer tainted by ill-gotten gains. So that GFA registry became the Ikaria's checklist. We went through and crossed out anyone that could have accessed those funds. Now all of it sits untouchable overseas in encrypted digital warehouses and some of the oldest, most austere banks of the world. Collecting interests that will never be claimed. Does that answer your question as to why they'd target Makoto? No, and you know it doesn't. Because if they thought they could lock you out of your coffers by killing Makoto, they wouldn't be trying to take him alive. You're paying attention. I like that. We don't use GFA, and Makoto is the heir to the House Ikaria, to the Ikaria Financial Group.
He'd never be tied to our legitimate banking information. Why not? What if he wants to buy a lollipop? A lollipop would be provided for him. The family's black market proceeds and its white market holdings must never mix. You divided your house right down the middle? Pardon the expression, but how can you stand atop the backs of many? And you take all this division that seriously? Deadly seriously. That is our family's rule, dating back centuries. Either you serve the house or you serve its interests, never both. So you're assigned to either the criminal organization, what's registered as the IFG, or to managing the family's legitimate business holdings like Renogen. But that means you are nearly as much of an outsider to the Ikaria financial group as you are. Nearly is doing a lot of work there. Who do you answer to then? Who controls the Ikaria's legitimate empire? Until Makoto marries? His mother. And I take it Makoto isn't solely responsible for the house's affairs at his age? Makoto wields great authority as the heir, but yes, the house is led by his father Raphael, and more directly by his grandfather, our patriarch, Daisuke Ikaria. I see. But that puts me back where I started. The Blue Bloods want to hold Makoto hostage to gain leverage on the likes of Daisuke. How can I put this? Had things gone even slightly different 30 years ago, the Blue Bloods would be the ones shaking hands with politicians, marrying ambassadors, and sitting in boardrooms. Some of them believe it can still be so, if the right match were made. They want to marry into House Ikaria? But Makoto's and all the real Blue Bloods are older than... They'd find an age-appropriate adoption. You're missing the point. They need Makoto alive and well to negotiate that kind of reversal of fortune. So they've been trying to capture him for the past year. But every Blue Blood I met today seemed to care a lot more about getting revenge for their dead men than kidnapping a preteen. How many of them do you think Sosuke's cut down in the last year he spent repelling their attempts? Is that a source of internal conflict? If the old guard are throwing young bloods into an Ikaria shredder en masse, trying to capture Makoto just to elevate themselves, I suppose that all might total up to enough motivation for them to torture Sosuke, yeah. I had heard Sosuke was wounded. No one informed me that he had been tortured. You know him, I take it? As you've gathered, Sosuke deals in matters unrelated to my side of the family. But he is still family. Speaking of my side, I have a duty as the representative of my wing of the house to stress that we don't want this trial to be prolonged. So the bean counters don't care for the extra attention. That makes sense. Do you care about the outcome? A win is always preferable, but not a necessity. Makoto Ikaria hired me to prove Sosuke's innocence, if he's the one signing the checks. Did he say why he hired you? He hired you for 2 reasons. Reason 1, his options are limited, more limited than he suggested, no doubt to keep a strong front. Oh, I love that the smoke is also pixelated around her. Oh, that's fun. The entire house is currently being audited by the state. Our usual legion of lawyers and accountants are already billing hours as fast as they can, so he wouldn't have his pick of the litter. So one half of the family can't talk business at the dinner table with the other half, but you share a pool of lawyers? Lawyers can be trusted to be discreet, can they not? Yeah, we can read between the lines. So then you'll understand reason 2. Whatever lawyer he did find through the Ikaria's usual connections would, like me, do whatever's best for the house as a whole. And not what's best for Sosuke. I'll make an amendment. 3 reasons. Makoto knew that if he didn't assign him any lawyer, Sosuke would just stay silent as the state dragged him off to be chained, rather than inconvenience the house any further.
Well, yeah. I've known Sosuke for less than a day, and even I can tell he's never seen a cross he wouldn't jump at the opportunity to bear. That explains why Makoto would hire someone without connections to the Ikaria. You slow rolling another addendum that'll clear up why on earth my name came across his desk? Littered with crayons and times tables, as I'm sure it was. I hope I've been able to elucidate matters for you, Counselor Morgan. Masterfully subtle way to say we're done talking. Now I might ask you a small favor in return. Pass this message to Sosuke. If you see a way out, take it. Do you understand what you're asking him to do? Even if Sosuke took a plea bargain, even if I somehow got the other charges reduced to manslaughter, self-defense, the state thinks he killed a cop. The message is for Sosuke, not you. Your interpretation of it isn't relevant. End of conversation. As she reaches the exit, she turns back to look at me, lingering in the doorway like the warm buzz of a strong, dark cocktail. But your assessment is correct. If this were just 4 dead blue bloods, our dim little underworld could balance out the ledger unassisted. If that cop hadn't shown up last night. Do you know something about the late Officer Chopin? City in mourning after death of city's councilman's beloved adopted son in the line of duty. All I know is that his funeral dirge will make those 4 boys' deaths sound like a disinterested sigh. By the way, I must admit you have a lovely apartment, Counselor. Changing subjects as subtly as a bullet train hopping its tracks. Quite spacious for a defense attorney. Yeah, place wouldn't sell after the tram route got diverted. I negotiated down the rent and then installed all the soundproofing myself. Can't open the windows without being treated to the sounds of the city, then. There's always a cost. That's one mystery solved then, isn't it? Enjoy the rest of your quiet evening, Counselor. The door glides to a close behind her, easy as a question left unasked. I'm left here hanging on a single held breath of stillness. Listening as the deafened thud of her honor guard's implied violence stomps down the hallway behind her. Ooh, I like her. No one is surprised, but I like her. I was still leaned back in my chair, staring holes in my ceiling long after the scent of her expensive tobacco had faded into null. Savoring it while it lasted was beyond me at the moment. My attention's elsewhere. This case is knotted and twisted like a gnarled oak, just when I think I found my rhythm. The blade runs dull. Carving is an exercise in patience and vision. You need to start with a clear picture of what you want. I want some answers. But for now, I'll sleep. Where's Sarah? Is she still at work? I want to see my daughter. Tomorrow in court, I'll just have to keep whittling away at the wood until I fashion something halfway usable. And, well, if that doesn't work, I'll use a chainsaw. Trial time. Hello? Hey, cool kid. Yes, you, trying to look all stoic staring out the window. Little late to try and look detached after that thing you pulled the other day. So that wasn't a joke, making that announcement in the front of the class? You trying to start a detective club or something? What mysteries? Disappearing cleaning supplies? Books not getting returned to the library? Sounds lame. Well, not like that's your fault. Everything's lame. Good luck finding members. Everyone around here already knows what they're going to do after school. And tomorrow, and next year. They're all staring down the barrel of a lucrative career and telling other companies how to provide web services or whatever the hell this school's supposed to train us for.
A lawyer? If you say so, cool kid. The Megs will probably have robots doing that by the time you graduate, but sure. Law school is supposed to be hard to get into. You'll need a record that doesn't suck. Getting the club you started shut down because you couldn't get anyone to join probably wouldn't help. Wow, so confident. You really are a cool kid. Morgan, please, this is... Hold still and relax. This'll be over soon. Hi, Sarah. I thought you were joking about the makeup. Of course I wasn't joking, recovering his bruises. A face like yours is invaluable in the courtroom. And you think covering me in concealer and blush and applying eyeliner will help me appeal to what demographic exactly? Me? It'll help you appeal to me? The me demographic, the one that I'm in? You know the names of all this stuff? I'm a modern man. I know the names of many things, including makeup. Oh, we have to make you all pretty. We have to make you all bonita for court. Is that your eyebrow gel? Yes. It's cakey. Do you want to do the rest? Writing down that she uses eyebrow gel because I don't own any way. I'm a brow pencil girly. I think some of the jury might find that his wounds make him look rugged. And furthermore, from an aesthetic perspective, leaving some of his buttons undone will... Excuse me? You're very clearly a devoted martial artist, Sosuke. You should be proud to display your well-defined collarbones as the fruit of your efforts. Just hold still. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for that, Sarah, for me personally. Appearances matter in the courtroom. 95% of defendants who are ever seen in person... Wait, what? 95% of defendants who are ever seen in prison garb at trial are found guilty. I don't doubt your tactics work, Morgan. My tactics included getting your suit pressed. Do you want me to wrinkle it back up? The makeup scene, yay! I am delighted. I was AFK. Well, you're back for peak, apparently. I just find them unpalatable. Palatable. Trying to get the jury, these civilians, to pity me is shameful. You're worried about honor? Really? You're like a cybernetic ninja, Sosuke. Don't be a stereotype. Seated, I'm sat. I like Sosuke. Don't call other people stereotypes. He's right, Adonai. And he's more of a cybernetic samurai since he's sworn himself to a wealthy landowning noble. I'm confused, Sosuke. Is it honorable how your family makes their money? Made their money? I'm not talking about morality. I'm talking about having principles. Yes, they're subjective, and yes, they can be hypocritical. But the further you stray from the common path, the more you need them. Sorry, I'm still losing it over. Is that your eyebrow gel? It's cakey. Oh my god. Morgan, you have the money. Get a new tube. I mean, what about her? What would Sarah be like if she didn't have tenets to guide her programming? He's so judgy about it. It's so funny. No, he is. To be fair, if my lawyer just came up to me and was just like, we're fixing your face, and then took out her own cakey brow gel, I would be upset too. Is this just the tenets? Yeah. Wait, fuck, it's okay, you're here now. We can all look at how Moe Sosuke is together. I can only imagine. But some people, believe it or not, enjoy their freedoms. Adrift in the middle of the ocean, you're free to go in whatever direction you want. But without a compass, you'll just die of exposure. If you only ever follow exactly what the compass says, you'll sail north until you freeze to death. The point is, if you have a compass, you know which direction north is. Fortunate for us all, then, that the state is a 1,000,000 megawatt North Star pointing towards complacency at all times. And the media is like the wind. And without wind... Area man very opinionated about cosmetics, which could mean nothing. You'll get stuck in the tide. It was, a nice try, Sarah. Forget it. Do whatever you want with your brushes, woman. And you're pouting again. Great. Sarah, just keep him talking. What? If I'm talking, how will you... Trust me, I've done more delicate work before. Sarah, small talk. Gladly, Adonai. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. Tattoos and makeup. Wait, I want to talk about makeup. Lift your chin. You really think they'll feel bad for me because of some cuts and scrapes? You're not good at listening to instructions, are you? Look at the ceiling, like giving Sarah a halo. Oh. I'll look at it again when we go back to the dialogue tree. Daughter, I missed her. The prosecution has to get 12 strangers to agree that you killed 5 men. Each charge has to be unanimous. A perfect score. So any chip damage we can do, any doubt we can sow, we take it. I really hope we're doing this in the middle of this waiting area here, and Emma just walks past us putting blush on this man, and it's really embarrassing. I really want that for Morgan. I think Morgan would die a little bit inside. Emma walks by and is like, oh, is that your brow gel? It's cakey. The advantage you're talking about is my face. But your face is so pretty, Sosuke. We have to use that to our advantage. Are you really not used to this kind of attention, Sosuke? Look, it may be true that at times some women have expressed... And men, no doubt. All I'm saying is that there's a difference between knowing your strengths and powdering up like this. Love the idea of her being like, that's a bit much on the foundation, isn't it? Walks by and it's just like, oh, I think you need a fixing spray to take some of that off now. Pretend it's war paint. Is that how you see it? No, but I'm a grown-up. Tattoos. Sosuke, do you happen to have any tattoos? Are the jury going to ask about that or something? They might. Oh. Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do have a tattoo. A Komainu on my back. Komainu, a guardian dog. You have a tattoo of a dog? It's a fierce guardian deity. Like a Labrador or... like a great fierce... a big dog. Perhaps you should have it changed to some other design, like, say, like a dragon. I need to uninstall this game, guys. I need to uninstall this game right now. Sarah. Sarah. Oh, we summoned it because I tried to stream Yakuza 0 this week. Sarah. I knew this was coming too. I had seen this screenshot separately. He breathes fire now? Like a dragon? There's no switching. The buyer's remorse must be unbearable. There's no buyer's remorse. Oh, my legal liability daughter. I love her. Oh, it is giving her a little halo. Look at her. Oh. Mob history. Thank you for entertaining my questions last night, Sosuke. Oh, she's so cute. Look at her. Did she ask you about your dimensions? The subject might have come up. Oh, good. She asked men too. She's a talkative one, isn't she? Sorry if she kept you up all night. No, she's no trouble, just curious. Reminds me of... we discussed history. Oh, well, then she must have put you right to sleep. Adonai, it was his choice as subject. So you read history, Sosuke! Here I assumed you spent all your free time frowning at the corners of rooms with your arms crossed. We talked about the Roman Empire for your information. And criminal empires. Nothing too detailed, I hope. But, Sosuke, I still don't understand. What did you mean when you said criminal organizations used to be structured differently? It's like every single line is hilarious, literally. I love it. This game is so good. Only that the old ways don't fit in our new 21st century world. This might be the funniest trio setup in the game. Yeah.
Old ways?
Well, he's talking about race, Sarah.
Race? I don't understand.
Well, that's to be expected. After all, you share 98% of your components with a washing machine.
That is an untrue and unflattering comparison.
Maybe you do get it. Look, Sarah. Names like Mafia, Gokuto. I did not say that right at all. Mafia, Gokuto, Sanhehui. They all came from different cultures, but they all refer to a kind of path. An outsider's path. And the pride that comes with living by your own set of rules. Those were the first criminal organizations. Underground guilds, lending systems, militias, secret societies. What the hell did he say? Let me go back up a little bit. Oh, sure. They were basically just big, friendly charities. Then the world got smaller and people started moving around and the mafia changed. It became a way for immigrants to band together to have some kind of power in places that wouldn't give them a chance at anything remotely respectable. But the world kept getting smaller and more complex, and eventually that kind of community couldn't form, let alone survive.
Why?
Not enough shared experiences. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, that is interesting.
Shared experiences. I see.
Fancy way of saying the internet came along. Well, yes, technology negates the physical distance between people. When you spend most of your life online, you end up with more in common with people on the other side of the planet than your own neighbors. Just because of where your recommendations take you.
So the immigrant experience disappeared?
Fractured, more like. Cracked into a million shards with a hammer. That is interesting. While generational or economic experiences got cemented. The world is more diverse and varied than it's ever been in every sense. Except economically.
Wealth inequality is at historical highs.
As it has been every year since before I was born. To answer your question, Sarah, that's what binds the members of a criminal organization to one another. Their socioeconomic status. House Ikaria is at the top. The Blue Bloods lie below us. Within each organization, wealth is concentrated among the leadership, of course, but each mafia exists in entirely different strata.
I see. I've also read about an organization called the Rust being active here in the city. Are they in the poverty class, then?
The Rust? I'd put them in the anarchy class. Glowing tattoos and spiked hair, chrome biceps and sharpened teeth. The Blue Bloods, for all their faults, can put on a tie and go to work, but I can't see the Rust experiencing any kind of social mobility. Careful, Sosuke, if the Rust heard you being that classist. The Rust wouldn't care about anything I said or who I stand with. They don't need an excuse to start ripping open modders and grabbing whatever they can.
Things like that happen in this city?
Only in the shadows, Sarah. Nowhere you'd ever find yourself. Finally run out of steam? On to the grim business, then. How'd things go with your investigation? That bad, was it? Nonsense. It was pretty bad. With what I've seen so far, there's no one else who could have killed Chopin. Even if I managed to pick apart all the evidence for the pod's deaths. They've got a police officer who will swear on the stand that he arrested Sosuke standing over his partner's dead body. What's it going to look like in there? You've never been inside a courtroom? Never as a defendant. I'm just wondering how many cops I should expect. In the gallery, a sea of blue. Cheap intimidation tactics. Yes, but I can't fault them for that. We'd line up much the same for one of ours. You say that, and yet I don't see any other Ikaria around. This is a completely different scenario. And the house can't afford to appear beside a cop killer when they're being audited by the state.
How understanding of you.
Adonai. I think Sosuke is sad that his friends haven't shown up.
Good catch. Maybe this is the funniest trio. Oh my god.
You were hired by Makoto of House Ikaria, weren't you, Adonai?
Ah, I switched tabs.
Surely he would want to be in attendance.
I don't know if he's allowed. Don't be absurd. Makoto shouldn't be transported anywhere without a full security team. Besides which, he shouldn't be put through the long elevator ride to this 48th floor just for my sake. What's so bad about an elevator ride?
Is he claustrophobic?
No. That is, yes, but you cannot tell anyone, understand? Who the hell would I tell that to? Right. Look, it's illegal to stream trial proceedings under most circumstances, but I'm sure House Ikaria doesn't mind paying a fine. They'll be watching from somewhere in the courtroom. That would be a waste of the house's coin. Sosuke, I need to splash water in your face and then redo all of your makeup again. This guy. But I suppose they might consider keeping an eye on the case's progression. It's like trying to talk to a medieval knight, this guy. Which I guess the samurai comparison has been made, but like, I picture samurai usually as a bit more of a, they are hired on to do this thing and it's their job, versus like the, like, fairy tale knight that you would expect is a little bit more, a little bit more in Fantasyland about it, the way Sosuke is. This guy. Oops. As will the blue bloods, no doubt.
Adonai. I think Sosuke's spirits have rallied.
Really? How could you tell? Hi, girl. Hi, girl. Please tell me we've put the blush brush away.
He lifted his gaze and his eyes seemed brighter, as if...
Good, now try and keep his spirits high.
How do I do that?
Think of something fun. And we are gone. We're going. We've got a different thing to focus on. God damn, Morgan.
Right. Sosuke, shall we arm wrestle?
Don't break his arm, Sarah.
Oh. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, Emma. You seem tired. Want to push this off until next week?
Actually, that sounds...
Hey. Sorry. But we'll be facing off soon enough. Why not savor the playfulness while we still can? I'm gonna throw up. Dating sim ass music.
Fair enough.
Losing sleep over this case?
Not really, no. Things look pretty cut and dry to me. What about you? You toss and turn all night before your big debut as a mob lawyer?
Not at all. I slept like a rock.
Lucky. I mean, I've been getting good
Sorry, my brain's a little scrambled seeing both of them.
I mean, I've been getting good rest more or less. Just been having a lot of late nights recently.
Late nights? Like going out?
No.
Ah.
Just late night chats.
With who? Who are you talking to? Chatting about what?
God, look at all of them. Never seen so many cops in one building. They'd bring a marching band into the courtroom if they could. Theater.
Right. Well, theater and trial weren't all that far apart back in ancient Greece.
Would hope we'd progressed since then. You don't approve of this show of force, I take it. Is it that obvious? I'd like to say this is because of who Chopin's family is, but we both know that's not really what this is about. A cop is dead. The state wants to make it clear that that isn't tolerated. Cops volunteer to defend our laws and protect us citizens. Volunteers don't get paid. Besides, cops, courts, the state, all they can do is enforce the laws, not defend them. Guns and arms can't defend against the corrosion anyway. Rot comes from the deep.
So you'd rather that the death of a police officer get the same treatment as any other citizen?
Suppose that's not possible. They get increasingly fewer chances to play the victim every year, and they never let the opportunity pass. No, I guess the best I could hope for is that the state makes the same show of force whenever any crime is committed. If they treated every death like the death of a cop, maybe I could have caught HBK by now.
You're still on that?
Of course, shooting deaths are down, but do you know how many missing persons cases there are in this city? How many deaths get written up as mod harvesting attacks gone wrong? It's a big city, Morgan. More than enough blood running through the streets for HBK to launder their kills in.
You shouldn't joke like that.
What, you don't believe me? Just last month, missing person. The report was filed filed by their employer when they didn't show up to work, 7 days after they had last been seen by anyone. They were just some part-time worker, no close friends, no family. They went to work and they came home, paid their bills.
Nice read, thank you. I like that.
And they disappeared. And no one cared or even noticed until their job didn't get done and those bills went unpaid. No one noticed until they stopped buying in. The body was found a full 2 weeks later. The decay was... What happened to them? Blunt force to the back of the head. Something metallic with a sharp corner, we think.
It was a roughly cubed machine part that I pulled from a dumpster nearby. She is on our tail! We know!
Oh my god! Oh my god, they're gonna drive me crazy.
Oh my god, she is following us. She knows it's us. We didn't even see that one. Like, we the player did not even see that one. She's still following Morgan.
It fit snugly in my hand and it caved through his skull like a shovel through snow.
She's right behind me, isn't she?
Kicked into the bay, might not have even been weighed down. Just thrown away like a cheap.
That's terrible. Did you find any belongings on them?
No.
So probably a mugging then, right?
No, there would have been other injuries from a struggle. And a thief who accidentally committed murder would be too panicked, too terrified to...
You know how muggers think now.
I can learn how anyone thinks. Even HBK with a robust enough profile.
Well, good luck building it all by your lonesome. Ask me to join. Ask me to join you. Ask me to join you on the case. Please, 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 please.
I'm not working on this by myself.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Mm.
You know other girls? Sorry, right?
Anyone else hear that damn bell? Anyone else hear that Emma-shaped bell?
Did you want to beg for mercy real quick before we begin?
Now where would be the fun in that? I love them. Oh my god, I'm gonna throw up.
The courtroom gallery is quite full today, isn't it?
Awash in a sea of pissed off cops.
It doesn't exactly shore up one's confidence, does it?
5 counts of murder would be newsworthy any day of the week. Add in the fact that one of the bodies belonged to a cop and the crowd was to be expected. Didn't think they'd be so quiet, though. Maybe they're all just waiting for the firing pistol before they start casting their stones. Don't let it get to you, Sosuke. They're just posturing. Posturing, I understand. I've been in attendance for my fair share of tense negotiations. But the bloodlust in those rooms was always mutual. You don't feel any animosity towards these cops? I'm used to summoning my temper on command. I might have forgotten how to get angry for my own sake. I like him. You just worry about the jury. What about the adjutant? They cannot be intimidated by muscle, bribed with cash, or disarmed with fine tailoring. All of which makes them quite favored when it comes to prosecuting organized crime.
Have you been in court many times before, then?
It's an eye for eye in the world we operate in. We don't file assault charges, we just answer them. Though even that has become rare. The house is elevated. Blue Bloods and Rust and all the rest of the rabble. We're beyond their reach now. And when it comes to our peers, we communicate very differently. Must make being a bodyguard pretty boring.
I think your work sounds very rewarding and exciting, Sosuke.
Thank you.
Especially the other day when you were captured and beaten by your rivals.
Yes. What I was trying to hint at, Morgan, is that you should not be expecting assistance from the house. Honestly, the thought hadn't crossed my mind. Being on the winning side for once? What the hell would that even feel like?
So there won't be any men in black approaching the jury during lunch and offering them paper bags of cash?
No. Well, if we do really bad, we won't even make it to lunch, so...
Sosuke, what are you staring at? Are you looking for the jury?
No, I know they aren't here. It used to be mandated that juries be physically present for court proceedings. People felt it was important that they look the accused in the eye.
To help them evaluate their character?
Why bother? Most people suck at that. Always have. True. Perhaps it was considered part of the punishment then. To have to look them in their eyes.
A punishment for the jury or the defendant?
All right, kiddos. Chins up, shoulders out. Show's about to start. We should save.
Ah, I just remembered. Do you think the adjutant assigned to this particular case?
Obviously, it's gonna be me. Obviously. Funny. Hi, 80. I mean, that's a gimme. Easy. How?
It's 80. What are the chances?
I love 80. Hi, girl, hi. Let he who is without sin play first, or drop first. Pineapple on pizza until proven guilty. Shopping carts always returned. 80. At first I was like, oh, are we gonna get a different adjutant every case? But now I'm like, I hope it's 80 every single time. She's so fun. Likes mountain air, gymnasts, luxury. Dislikes happy couples who ask you to take their photo. Does that happen frequently to you, 80? Anyway, we should save. Because we are about to start trial and it might get scary. I say, but then I like don't actually ever reload my save. There should be at least 83 other personalities in the building's network. At least. Well, Your Honor, thank you for presiding so honorably. I do try. Because it's a trial. Ugh, there is something in my eyes, folks. Hold on.
Anyway, I love 80. She's great. Tougher crowd than usual. And that's not counting all the grim monoliths standing tall out there in the gallery. Who died?
5 people, Your Honor.
Yikes! What's the damage?
2 counts of manslaughter, 2 counts of homicide in the 2nd degree, and 1 count of homicide in the 1st degree.
Buddy, you're trying to get a gold split with all that? What's with the record-setting grind set?
The prosecution stands ready.
So shall we begin? Ooh. Ooh. Your credit's always good here. Court is now in session. Is that new? I don't remember that from the first one. Now let's crack open those opening statements and get this case summarized.
Gladly, Your Honor. People of the court, the defendant in this case is a man named Sosuke Ikaria. He was found at the scene of the crime where 2 men were shot to death. One was stabbed in the neck, another had their skull bashed in.
That's a whole lot of murder, like, weapons. I know we did it, but what?
And a police officer was impaled through the back with a sword.
It's new and it's quite beautiful. It is. I love it. Ooh, I like that too. It looks very stock market. Cop killing piece of shit.
Please pardon any outbursts from the gallery that your mics may inadvertently pick up. Now, I understand that the scale of violence on display here today may intimidate you.
Morgan coin go down.
But I want to stress to all of you now that your responsibility here today is neither taxing nor complex. You will hear the testimony, you will be shown evidence, and all of it will point towards the truth. That the defendant is the only individual who could have possibly committed these crimes.
Now here's the other thing, as I continue to Yuri Light Yagami my way through this game. She doesn't think that, right? She doesn't genuinely believe that Sosuke is the one who did it. She's just defending this position. Not defending, that was a bad choice of words. She's just acting on behalf of the state, right? That's not what she actually thinks. She has to think it's HBK, right? She has to have like a feeling at least that it's me, right? Right? Oh, I'm gonna go crazy.
That is a simple fact. And the only one you need concern yourself with.
Ooh, she's cold as ice. But every ice age beckons a kindling. For as ashes call to cinders and embers form champions. Defense is ready, Your Honor.
Emma did stick to cold logic, so if I follow her with more of the same, it'll end up falling flat. This gallery will never warm up to us. But that can work to our advantage. If the jury comes to see these cops as witch hunters eager to start a pyre.
It's not like Masters never taught me anything. I know how to do the old razzle-dazzle. Chicago mentioned.
My fellow citizens, you were brought here today because an act of violence took place that could only be described as unspeakable. I should know. I was there. I saw the blood on the ground, the bullet holes in the walls, felt the horror of that radiated in the air. And I also saw where my client was held prisoner. And I knew exactly where he must have stood, because his sweat and blood had stained the tile. My client, a decorated veteran, the man you see standing next to me here, not even fully healed from his
ordeal. It was not the right choice. That wasn't the right choice 2 times in a row. It's fine.
Was taken into police custody with lacerations, bruises, internal bleeding, broken bones. And while he was in police custody, he somehow sustained a black eye, a busted lip, a broken nose, and a boxed ear.
She is not impressed.
A puzzle which I'm sure any one of the officers in the gallery today would be happy to testify about.
Shit.
You're gonna let her say that?
Want me to object during an opening statement?
Much is resting on the outcome of this trial.
5 men lie dead in the morgue. One of them, a police officer. Tariq.
Don't speak his name, you mob lawyer bitch! Hang him up! Hang her too! This is...
Hey, we like to have fun in this courtroom, but on a good show. But that's because we're on the stage. Any more outbursts from the gallery and I'll clear the entire room. You can all watch the rest on your phones or peek in through the keyhole like a bunch of sweaty looking I can't read. Like a bunch of sweaty looky-loos. I really love when games play around with the essential system messages and like parameter UI and menu visuals. I really enjoy how Of the Devil will use its tutorials to go time to fuck around and signal a tone shift. It's fun. I was a really big fan of someone is bleeding. What do? Counselor, let's wrap this up.
Yes, Your Honor.
The fact of the matter is, on that night, my client was not in any condition to kill anyone. Not 4 hardened criminals, and certainly not a trained police officer. And nothing about my client's background, his associations, or that of the victims can change that fact. Also, can I just say, because I forgot to say it when we were investigating the scene again, I love that when we were cleaning up the crime scene, it forced us to decide for ourselves when we were done cleaning. I am fairly certain that I cleaned up everything. And yet, when we got to the crime scene, the knife was gone. And also, like, when we got to the crime scene, the game moved us along on its own. It didn't let us make that decision, and so Morgan's gonna feel uneasy the entire time, no matter how well we did, I think. Or I did actually genuinely fuck up, in which case, uh-oh. I love it. I also wonder if you go through that just, like, not doing a good job cleaning up the crime scene at all, if that affects the gameplay at all. I don't know if I read this or not. Let's read it again. And nothing about my client's background, his associations, or that of the victims can change that fact. So as you listen to all the evidence in this trial, with fairness and impartiality, as I know you will strive to, I only ask that you focus on the reality of this horrible crime and not on the fiction that the people will try to weave for you. Thank you.
Decorated veteran?
You telling me you never earned a single commendation? Most push-ups of the day or something?
Never mind, I suppose it could have gone much worse.
You're too kind.
I was trying to be honest. The crowd got agitated, but you maintained a level head and recovered your tempo.
Adonai is a master at doing so. I've seen her make comebacks from the most nonsensical mistakes before. In martial arts, they call it an ukemi, a graceful fall.
That is basically correct.
Well, try not to gracefully fall over when you see the first witness on the docket, Sosuke.
What do you mean by that?
Is it Makoto?
Your name and occupation for the record?
It is Makoto.
How can that be necessary? If some blathering idiot in that courtroom doesn't already know who I am, they don't deserve...
I know, but would you consider it, if only for the sake of ceremony?
Ceremony is important and should be respected. Very well. I am Makoto Igaria of House Igaria. My occupation is that of a student.
Try not to look so smug about it when you blatantly lie.
Right, of course, and your position with the Igaria Financial Group? Is not salaried. Must I really declare it here?
Hard to imagine why the noble house of Ikaria is getting audited.
Sosuke? Are you alright?
Can he see us?
He can see me, Rockford, and the adjutant. Witnesses tele-testifying don't really need much else.
So he's safe?
Yes, Sosuke, he's safe, like he was yesterday. Probably sitting right where I left him, or standing on a box. I think the hologram's given him a boost so he can see over the stand.
That's good.
The boost to his height?
that he's safe at home. They're so stupid. Oh, I love this.
I'm sorry that he can't see you, Sosuke.
Don't be. After how horribly I failed him,
I'd like you to speak a bit about the events of August 13th. About the last time you saw the defendant, Sosuke Ikaria.
I'm here today, not physically, but here nonetheless, as a courtesy. That does not mean I will flap my gums like some sort of flapping gum puppet.
Permission to treat the witness as hostile incoming.
Emma Rockford raking a spoiled brat over the coals.
This will be almost worth the price of admission alone.
I understand. It was a traumatic experience, I'm sure. Anyone of normal upbringing would barely be able to recall a single detail, let alone the day's full events.
Normal upbringing?
I should probably dismiss you so you can get back to your summer studies.
Summer studies? Like some common waif?
Waif, that's quite the vocab pull. I didn't know they taught that in State Basic.
Basic?
Was I mistaken?
Listen well, Madam Rockford, as I demonstrate to you exactly how misguided you are about my powers of retention.
Please do.
Played like a damn fiddle. Why wasn't she mentioned during any of our trial preparations? Let's look at Emma.
Likes art museums, amethysts, and turn-based RPGs. Dislikes ballrooms, boardrooms, and cliques. Favorite quote, flower in the mirror, moon on the water. I feel like that's the same as it was last time. Favorite subject, psychology. Exercises by, subject seem not to hear the question.
Adonai has only won against her once.
So far, every hot streak starts somewhere. Hot streak? I really am going to prison, aren't I?
Where shall I start?
As far back as you can.
A simple task. For the past year, members of the organization, most commonly referred to as the Blue Blood Mafia, have been making attempts on my life.
Did you steal their lunch money or something?
I'm the primary beneficiary of my grandfather, Daisuke Ikaria's will. In common parlance, I am the sole heir to the Ikaria Financial Group.
You can buy so much lunch.
The group you know as the Blue Bloods have been jealous of my family's financial foresight for decades. I am merely the most recent target of their impotent attempts to nip at our heels.
And 2 days ago on August 13th, how impotent was their attempt then?
I was leaving a meeting held on the upper floors of Crane Tower. My security detail escorted me to the elevators, where we would then proceed down to their canopy access floors.
This was all planned out in advance?
By my head of security, Sosuke Ikaria. But the elevator became stuck, with unnatural timing. When Sosuke pried the doors open, we saw that we were stuck between the 62nd and 61st floors.
Pried open? With a tool?
Leading the witness, Your Honor?
He didn't need a tool to open the doors. His bare hands were more than sufficient.
Help Sosuke out here, kid.
We submit into evidence the defendant's Akita Type 2 military-grade spinal mod. Designed to enhance strength, endurance, and reflexes for high-intensity combat scenarios.
Yes, sir! It is so admitted.
What happened next?
The decision was made that that we would crawl out onto the 61st floor and head for the service elevators. But once Sosuke and I exited, the elevator started up. It was a trap. We'd been cut off from the rest of my detail.
You were isolated and defenseless. That must have been...
Ha! Hardly defenseless. You really think my personal head of security wouldn't be armed? He had yoru.
Don't tell me. You named your sword?
All great swords have names.
Thank you, Sarah. Very well put. Oh, great.
Let the record show that the witness has identified Exhibit B3 as belonging to the defendant.
Bladed weapon found at the scene of the crime, impaled into the torso of victim Tariq Chopin. Steel is chipped at several points, especially the tip. Identified by Makoto as Sosuke's personal sword, Yoru, taken along with Sosuke down to the lower wards following an ambush on Makoto. Fingerprints on the handle match the right hand of Sosuke Ikaria. Okay, so I think he is right-handed if this is his sword. But the gun, the fingerprints matched his left hand. Why am I trying to figure this out? We shot the guy. What? Why am I trying to be like, well, I wonder who shot him? We shot him. We did that. Another murder weapon I had to wipe my prints off before taking my leave. Yep, we already got this. This sword was recovered by the police in a known blue blood den in the lower wards. Found impaled into the body of Tariq Chopin. And forensics had shown that the only fingerprints on it are those of the defendant. There's still time for you to disown it, Sosuke.
You understand nothing about a swordsman's heart, Adonai.
Once again, it is your paralegal that has the right of it. Perhaps she should be leading my defense. If this somehow turns into a fencing competition, I'll gladly defer to you two. So you, Sosuke, and Yoru were on the 61st floor together. What happened next?
When we arrived at the service elevators, Sosuke called them and they made a chime. Woo, I can't read. And I didn't clearly see much of what happened next, to tell you the truth. Figures emerged from around the corners. They were aiming weapons at me. A red dot shone on my chest.
Welcome back, turnabout trigger.
And then Sosuke was there and a needle was sticking out of his arm. Yoru glinted. Sosuke had drawn it in the blink of an eye. Something glanced off it and dropped to the floor. I saw a syringe at my feet. Yoru's sheet was thrust into my arms, pushing me back into the elevator, and I landed on my rear.
That's clearly a key piece of testimony. Let's play it back 5 times. What matters is he pushed me back into the elevator with Yoru's sheath. How I landed is irrelevant and should be stricken from all public records. Why do I feel like it actually is going to come up, though? The only other thing I saw was Sosuke's back. He slammed his hand against the elevator's control panel and then the door shut.
That's the last time you saw the defendant? The decision was made that I should get on a VTOL as soon as possible. I wonder if you're just supposed to pronounce it vital. But much of my details stayed behind to assess what had happened.
Yes, they were very helpful to building security and recovering Exhibit 5C, this hypodermic needle gun. Yeah. Fingerprints on the weapon match those of the victim, Creek. What kind of bonehead would leave evidence like that behind? A bonehead in a rush, perhaps, Your Honor?
It does appear to have exhausted its gas canisters, so it may have outlived its usefulness.
I take it that this weapon is a match for the projectile needles found in the room where my client was restrained?
Correct. Others exactly like them were recovered from the scene of the ambush as well.
Cool. Makoto, did you see the faces of the men who attacked you?
Ha! All too clearly. I can tell you every deal of their roughshod countenances.
Oh, that sounds like a good bit of testimony. Hit it! Let's go. Needles. Yoru.
A pineapple-head-like man and a raincoat-clad hooligan came at us first. They aimed at me, but Sosuke got between us and blocked every shot. With Yoru, he could have closed the distance, but then a dark-eyed scoundrel approached from the right. And a man with a ridiculous pompadour took advantage of that distraction. I'll never forget the faces of those cowards. They tried to kill me. So whatever happened to them afterwards, I'm sure they deserved it.
Makoto's putting his talents for hyperbole on full display. I'll have to fact-check his description in order to get the ball rolling. Okay, pineapple head-like man? Sosuke came between us and blocked every shot. Well, he got hit with one.
Oh my god, where do I even... I don't think they were trying to kill him.
Shit, wrong one.
Just one moment to gather my thoughts, if the court will allow. Will the court allow it? Perhaps. But I certainly won't. I certainly won't. Now eat this penalty. And let the sugar revitalize your brain.
Tough love.
No, I know what it is. Oh shit, I fucked up.
What are you even trying for, counselor?
Just checking to make sure you're on your toes, that's all. That sounds like BS. I don't believe you. Overruled. Oops. Okay, let me look at this, look at this. We got Yoru and we got needles. They're non-lethals. Yeah, they're non-lethal. Okay, so we were on the right thing earlier.
What were you going for, Adanai? I'm trying to point out Makoto's misunderstanding about the nature of the attack. I just need to find a way to show it.
Yeah. There we go. This was a non-lethal attack. They couldn't have been trying to kill the witness. Not with non-lethal projectiles. They fired a lot of them. The witness doesn't weigh that much. Don't try it. This attack was clearly planned with the intent of capturing Makoto alive.
Meaning what? That 4 of this case's victims were actually soft-hearted pacifists?
There's nothing soft-hearted about what they did to my client after capturing him. Using tools they clearly originally planned to use on the witness. So they're sadists. I'm getting confused here.
So is the defense, Your Honor. What matters is that the witness has identified the defendant's captors as the 4 blue blood victims that he is accused of murdering.
Makoto did establish that much, but something about this attack still bothers me. Emma put Makoto on the stand specifically to identify the victims. Is it possible that the men who attacked them weren't Creek's pod? They were attacked by Creek's pod. They were attacked by some other party. Creek was definitely there. But I don't know if I recognize the rest. Oh, I guess he's vaguely pineapple shaped. Who was in the raincoat? Was it Trey? Oh, what was the other one's name? Miller. No, that is Creek's pod. I don't disagree, Your Honor. The men who attacked Makoto and took Sosuke captive are the same ones who ended up dead that night. But 2 questions do occur to me. Why were you safe on that service elevator if Sosuke surely collapsed the next moment it shut? The very moment it shut. Wouldn't these men have pursued you by any means necessary?
That is...
I can answer that, Your Honor. When the police inspected the scene, they found that the control panel for calling that elevator on the 61st floor was broken. Smashed, in fact. The attackers would have had to manually pry open the doors to even attempt to chase after Makoto. And that would take remarkable, modded strength.
Did you mash the button that forcefully, Sosuke?
I may have used more force than necessary. I wasn't exactly trying to hold myself back at the time. He hit the controls hard enough to break them? So the Blue Bloods couldn't pursue you further and instead elected to take Sosuke captive. A Sosuke in the hand is better than a Makoto in the bush. The head of Makoto Security would surely have made for an invaluable source of information for planning future attacks. Were he made to talk?
Are you denying that?
No, but I would like to ask the witness one other question. Why did you get off the elevator in the first place? What are you... Hey, what I mentioned in the lobby earlier, that's... The mic's might not be picking up on it for you, but from where I'm standing, I can't help but overhear my client groaning about how badly he failed you. That's not evidence or testimony, and so should be stricken from the record. But you get the idea. So was bailing out early the defendant's big brain idea?
As head of my personal security detail, such a decision is ultimately his to make. However, that decision may have been influenced by his knowledge of the fact that I am not especially comfortable in enclosed spaces.
What the hell are you doing? Are you trying to humiliate him? In part. I'm also trying to insult you.
Had we simply waited, we would have remained safe, but I was not comfortable and felt very warm. So it was not a tactical failure on Sosuke's part per se.
Just an error of judgment.
Counselor Morgan.
What's up? You can disconnect the call if...
Ask me another question. Ask me about how bravely Sosuke defended me.
Huh, so that's your angle? We can't all be as naturally gifted at extracting valuable testimony out of spoiled brats as Emma. But I can follow her example, insult their pride, and these Ikaria snap back, as reliable as any knee-jerk reaction. And in Makoto's case, with infinitely less resistance than if I had simply asked him to testify. It's usually the lawyers who do the asking and the witnesses who do the answering. This is not very realistic. We asked that the witness testify for the court in more detail about exactly how valiantly Sosuke fought off the attackers. And I guess the people don't object, even though it seems super extra? No, the people don't object, Your Honor. Emma's playing passively. Either I'm onto something here or I'm walking into a trap. Screw it. All in on the former. Okay, hold on. Needle gun and Sosuke med records. Let's look at these. Needle gun. Fingerprints match Creek. Blood from various sources on the front of the body. Numerous broken bones in left hand. Oh yes, his hand is broken. So his left hand is broken, so... Obviously he didn't fire that gun, but... Slight laceration found on left hand. Internal bleeding throughout torso and skull. Bruising and rope burns on both wrists as if bound. Numerous bruises on the front of the body. Other blood across the tops of feet and pant legs. Largest wound found on the back, found on crown of the skull, back of the head near the top. At time of booking, numerous additional injuries were noted, including bruised to left eye, busted lip, broken nose, boxed left ear, blunt trauma to front right side of the head. When or where these additional injuries were sustained is not noted. Oh shit, and the needles, but we just reread those.
Sosuke was outnumbered from the beginning and protecting me the whole time. It didn't matter that we were ambushed or that the Blue Bloods had projectiles. Sosuke took up Yoru in both hands and swatted their needles out of the air like a graceful swatter. He fought off 4 attackers and without sustaining a single injury.
That's not true.
Mock him if you dare for being captured. But that's not a failure, not by any general's definition of the word.
Hearing Makoto describe Sosuke's heroism, it's almost more impressive the second time.
He definitely fought without a care for himself, and there's evidence to show it. Unscathed is the last thing anyone would call my client after the events of that day. One look at his medical data from when he was arrested will tell you that much. What are you getting at, Counselor? The defendant's injuries were sustained at the Blue Blood's den, not at Crane Tower. The police didn't find even one drop of blood anywhere near that service elevator. Well, that is a miracle, a bloodless ambush. But the fact that no blood was found makes it all the more painfully obvious what actually happened to that elevator panel. The elevator panel? Ugh. My client broke half the bones in his left hand smashing it up. Oh yeah, hey.
Did you really?
I might have. There was a lot of adrenaline at the time.
Did you not form a proper fist? Was your wrist not in alignment with your forearm?
As I said, Sarah, there was a lot of adrenaline. Do you deny that his medical record clearly shows his left hand was broken? Your Honor, what does it matter that the defendant broke his left hand closing that elevator? It changes nothing about the witness's testimony. His testimony has been contradicted. Hold on, I gotta reread it. Here we go. Yeah, he mentions both hands. Of course it does. How so? Oh, shit. Well, it may be true that this wrinkle doesn't change the witness's testimony, but it does change the nature of the evidence you had him identify for the court. The katana? Yoru. Yoru. Its name is Yoru. We get it? Did you have a point to make, Counselor? Does that not count because it was... Do we know that it was before he smashed the elevator door? Yeah, it is. Fuck. There's something odd about the katana that's been entered into evidence. Something that makes no sense given what we've learned about the outcome of this ambush. Okay, the handedness thing comes up now. Now I have to actually look for... what? Katana, sword, Tosuke sword. Fingerprints match the right hand. The prints of which are gone because we wiped the prints off. Oh, fuck, I don't know. Namely the sword's... prints? Namely the fingerprints that were found on the sword's handle. Fingerprints belonging to Sosuke's right hand. You're contradicting yourself, Counselor. We've already discussed how it was your client's left hand that he broke closing off the elevator. There's nothing contradictory about him using his right arm to wield the blade. It can be like this because Sosuke has two hands. The people are correct. The sword found at the scene of the crime has my client's right hand fingerprints on its handle, despite the fact that this witness just testified that Sosuke was swinging it with both hands. Okay, we were getting to the same point.
Like a graceful swatter, specifically.
Oh, yeah, he did say that. So did the little tyke misremember? It was a chaotic situation where he feared for his life. The court should hardly expect him to have kept track of such an inconsequential detail.
Have you already forgotten my magnanimous powers of recollection?
Her tactics from earlier backfired.
I'll have you know I can recite all my subordinates' birthdays down to the hour.
Close enough, welcome back, Agent Long. Write it all down so I can calculate their moon signs later. It doesn't matter whether the witness is mistaken about Sosuke's grip, Your Honor. Because we have a much bigger issue to address. Why this sword has only my client's fingerprints on it. Girl, we know why. Makoto testifies that Sosuke wielded this katana in his defense. An act of bravery that ended with my client face down on the floor of Crane Tower. He later woke up held captive in the lower wards. I'll state the obvious here and say while he was unconscious, he was moved. And so the sword we have in the record must have also been handled by... Ooh. No. Makoto. Creek.
Our poor victim, Creek, of course.
What do you mean?
Sosuke was knocked unconscious at Crane Tower. That means that someone else must have brought his sword down to the lower wards. And the only people who had the opportunity to do so would have been his captors.
You mean his victims?
Withdrawn.
Ooh, we got a term for withdrawing. Either voluntarily or in response to an objection sustained by a judge, attorney may withdraw their comments. Officially, juries are to disregard any comments that have been withdrawn and should not take them into consideration when evaluating their evidence, witnesses, or charges laid before them.
The defense is forgetting a fairly simple fact, Your Honor. There's more than one way to hold the sword.
A worm?
In case the defense needs it clarified, Creek could have simply held the sword by its scabbard.
No, he could not have.
That's not possible, Your Honor. Makoto has already testified that Sosuke left the sword scabbard with him when he thrust him back into the elevator.
She was thrust into my arms, pushing me back in the elevator, and I landed on my rear.
I see. And since the cursed sword can't be resheathed until it's tasted blood.
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. Very well said.
We would have found the scabbard at the Blue Blood's den if Creek or his men had taken it with them. Instead, I imagine Makoto took it home. You think he took key evidence from his own assault and kept it from the police?
Of course I did. As if I would trust officers of the law to properly handle a family heirloom as precious as Yoru's sheath. Impressive insight, Adonai. But what does this actually mean? Is there some mistake with how the evidence was handled?
There's no mistakes here. This was all done with intention. The intention to frame my client by putting his fingerprints onto that sword after the real culprit had already handled it.
Ooh.
What a load of bullshit.
And the crowd goes wild. So it does make a certain kind of sense.
Because it's the truth, I did wipe that katana's handle down after removing it from Trey's throat. Sosuke just happened to be foolish enough to pick it back up himself afterwards. It's frustrating having to keep all my best cards up my sleeve this time around. But the look on Emma's face when I do get to toss them out is... oh shit. The people are more than ready to counter, if it pleases the court. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh. The defense has made an admirable effort to barrel ahead with this theory. Oh. Admirable, but predictable. With the foundation this weak, charging ahead and hoping the court won't notice is the only option. Let us speak of the facts. This Creek character led a targeted ambush on the heir to House Ikaria. I have to say, holy shit. Holy shit. Oh no. Oh no. This Creek character led a targeted ambush on the heir to House Ikaria, knowing he'd be guarded by a full security team. The Blue Blood successfully sabotaged and intercepted Makoto's elevator at the precise floor they wanted. Everyone say thank you, Leader Rain. Meaning they knew exactly where he'd be and when. And they brought with them drugs capable of disabling a veteran with military-grade mods. Sorry, I have not been paying attention to what she's been saying. I've been listening to the music, damn. Planning and attention to detail may be foreign concepts to the defense, but they should at least be able to recognize them. So is the defense seriously suggesting that after all that preparation, Creek's pod wouldn't bother to wear gloves? Oh, Emma. Oh, Emma. Girl. Girl, we already know. Fingerprint. Oh, Emma. I'm glad you asked so nicely. Hello? Oh, it's already a max. Cool. It was like... yeah, it's already a max. Whatever. We don't need to speculate about whether they wore gloves or not. Not when we have Creek's fingerprints on a weapon recovered from the crime scene. That is a pretty good point, actually. Guess these guys were sloppier than we thought.
Those blackguards were barefaced when they attacked us. Idiots. As if there wouldn't be repercussions for their actions. The least they could have done was disguise themselves.
Strike that from the record, Your Honor. Along with any future comments that suggest the Ikaria would want revenge against these victims.
I was only speaking a plain truth.
Makoto, shut up.
Creek was their leader, correct? If even Creek wasn't wearing gloves, it's hard to imagine that none of them got their prints onto Yoru.
Unless the sword was indeed wiped down at some point afterwards. Like right around the time the true culprit was looking for Sosuke to take the fall. It's a spicy theory. It's just that, Your Honor, a theory. A far-fetched, unstable theory that stacks presuppositions upon each other. Like a flapjack chef, substituting quantity for quality. I'll rephrase. This inconsistency is easily answered without jumping through the defense's absurdly arranged hoops. That's a little better. Ooh, another one. We already know that the Blue Bloods had successfully taken down the Ikaria's head of security. And we already know that they went out of their way to take the defendant captive despite him not being their original target. Furthermore, as the defense has belabored, we know that they decided to take a useless piece of steel with them from the scene of their crime. Useless? If we ask why, the answer is obvious, because orcas are superstitious and immature. They wanted a trophy. And what is there to do with a trophy, other than polish it? No, it's chipped. The steel is chipped at several points, especially the tip. Yeah, Sosuke would not have let it get like that. The cloth from Creek's desk. I knew she flagged it in the arcs for some reason, but she thought this many steps ahead. The defense is correct. The sword was wiped down before Sosuke took it up as his murder weapon, by the very same victims he'd go on to claim it with. That is a completely logical explanation, damn it. How do we respond to that, Adonai? Ooh. We don't. I can't. It makes perfect sense. So does that mean she's described what actually happened? Not at all. I wiped the sword myself because my prints were on it. Same as I wipe my prints off every other. Right. If I can't find fault with Emma's conclusion, I need to find fault with the logic that led her there. I see. And how do you do that? By adjusting my aim. As the people say, Your Honor, no one's fingerprints but my client's are on the murder weapon. That only makes sense if he's guilty, or being framed. And there's no evidence to suggest that he's been framed because his captors had valid reasons for wiping off the sword. That's true. They did have a good reason to wipe off the sword. But that's not the murder weapon I'm referring to. Oh shit, what are we talking about? Partial prints found.
Surely.
The gun is the murder weapon I'm referring to. What?
The police are confident that this Mag US is the gun that was used to kill Tankston Creek.
And your client was arrested with this on his person, and it has your client's prints on it.
Yeah, the wrong hand, the one that's broken.
But it was owned by Tanks.
The record shows that Sosuke's are the only fingerprints on that doohickey. So that means this Tanks guy had never laid a finger on his own gun.
It's entirely possible that Tanks simply liked to polish his gun too.
Phrasing.
So he was polishing right up until the moment his captor grabbed it and used it against him.
More phrasing.
Was it before or after his internal bleeding that my client took the gun off Tanks without him even laying a finger on it first? Before or after being tortured that he got the gun with no struggle? They could have wrestled over the gun while it was out of reach.
Tanks had no injuries besides the hole in his chest. How do you get into a struggle and not get so much as a scratch?
The likelihood of that scenario
would seem to come down to the order in which each individual died, no?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then perhaps we ought to hear some more detailed testimony about that.
Of course. The defense has no more questions for the witness, Your Honor. We don't object.
Hold on, what are you saying?
Okie dokie then, closing the connection.
I said wait, it's Sosuke!
Makoto seemed to be in good spirits, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he was his usual irreproachable self. So how can you find something like that, something about that to be depressed over?
I'm ashamed that he testified at all. His appearance here runs the risk of sullying the house's visage with my mistakes.
Well, he couldn't exactly slip the subpoena by claiming he had homework to do.
You, of all people, should understand that the house doesn't have to appear in court if it truly doesn't want to. A fine levied on your account is always preferable to a smudge staining your reputation.
But he did testify.
Yes, and he no doubt went directly against one or more family elders to do so. He shouldn't be incurring debts for my sake.
So he put himself at a disadvantage for you. Do you think Makoto would want you to apologize? Or do you think he'd want you to thank him?
He's young. He doesn't know what he wants yet.
Okay, I'm gonna call it there, because we've been streaming for a while. And unfortunately it is in the middle of a section, but this is about as long as I figured I would be streaming, and I do have a semi-early morning tomorrow. Hi, Yumi! Bye, Yumi! Yeah, we'll leave it on this beautiful screenshot of Yumi before we leave. All right, what is coming up? Monday, we should be back to our regularly scheduled Cabernet with me and Trav. If you would like to see vampire visual novel, shit's getting so real right now. The revolution has just begun. So that's gonna go normal. The political upheaval will be fine, I'm sure. So we'll be doing that. Wednesday, I might actually attempt Yakuza 0 again. We shall see. Have you heard of the Devil News? Oh, yes. They're going to be at, is it Too Many Games that they're going to be at?
and you can try out the demo for episode 3, I'm pretty sure, at their booth. So if you are at that in, what is it, like 2 weeks, I think? 3 weeks? Go check that out, because I won't be there, and I am so jealous. So yeah, definitely try that out. Oh damn, 92. Please support the Devil devs any way you can, because holy shit, this game, man. This game. And then Friday, they released an image of Morgan looking troubled. Wait, I want to go see that. I want to go see that. Friday we should be back to Of the Devil, probably finishing out this trial section, possibly continuing on past that, just because we stopped at a weird point again. Yeah, so if you are not already, join my Discord, come talk to me about more Of the Devil stuff, because I always want to talk about more Of the Devil, especially because we I can't look in social media tags about it because there's spoilers. Oh, actually, speaking of, next week in Chicago there is a Yuri cafe. It's like a cup sleeve event at I want to say it's at Omi Cafe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm gonna be cosplaying Morgan, and my friend Maddie is going to be cosplaying Emma, so we're gonna be Toxic Lawyer Yuri at the Yuri Cafe. And the day, is that next week? Am I getting my numbers wrong? No, yeah, I believe that is the 13th. And then the 14th is going to be our Ace Attorney cup sleeve, where the same people who were cosplaying Lawyer Yuri the day before will be cosplaying lawyers, but probably not Yuri. On Sunday, we will be running that cup sleeve event. There will be freebies, there will be cup sleeves, there will be several people in Ace Attorney cosplay hanging out. You should come by if you're in the area. Ours is a Pride themed cup sleeve. We're gonna have a bunch of Pride themed merch and a charity raffle, and it's gonna be cute and it's gonna be fun, and I'm very excited. So yeah, that's coming up next week. I will remind you all again within my Discord and over the course of the next week. Yeah, I think that is everything. Do we have somebody that we can raid into? We raided Save Data earlier today. Oh, Ada Lyra is live playing Persona 5 Royal. We can raid into her channel. Yeah, join my Discord if you haven't already. Check out my socials. Listen to me singing fake Kingdom Hearts songs, etc. Click the links that go by as in the form of a little bot that I programmed to do that all the time. But yes, I have to go to bed because I have Pokemon Go due tomorrow. Chicago, so many fucking events in Chicago, man, this summer. Happy Pride, damn. But I have to go play Pokemon Go out in the world tomorrow. Can I snooze this ad? I can't snooze this ad, so we're just gonna ignore it. I'm gonna raid out to Ada Lyra before that ad starts, just for the sake of convenience. But that is going to be it for tonight. I will see y'all on Monday. Oh, also, in my Discord server, I forgot, we're continuing Full Metal Alchemist watches on Sundays. But after that, good stream. Thank you everybody for stopping by. Hope everybody had a good summer game fest and a good Of the Devil stream. Let's go raid Ada Lyra now. Good night. Yarg.